A disastrous, I don't know if you could call it a rally, kind of like a small get-together for Joe Biden yesterday in Philadelphia. I'm going to talk about that. I mean, that's a devastating event for Biden because it's a Democrat town, it's a presidential visit, and it very well may be the smallest event that a sitting president has ever held out in public. I mean, you know, I've never quite seen something like it. So we'll cover that, and a whole bunch more is going on. That's just the beginning. Welcome. If you're new, subscribe. All right, we'll be on the air in a minute. Yeah, this shirt, a listener sent this to me. It arrived yesterday here at the studio. Isn't this nice? Make America Great Again. This is a good rally shirt. Yeah, nice shirt. I appreciate it. I've seen some of these shirts on TV and have never had one. Okay, 36 seconds. Stand by.
I don't get stomach aches. I don't get anything. I'm so happy with it. And I think
what story do you guys think I should start with?
Mike Lindell says that his coffee, the My Coffee, which is 50% off with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane at mypillow.com, is the
14
best
seconds.
coffee you've ever had.
Absolutely true. I have tried over the years other coffees, and nothing comes near his. And that really is the truth.
50% off with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane at mypillow.com.
On the air since 1977, it's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
All righty, welcome to the program, everyone. It is Thursday already. I like these short weeks, don't you? Oh, man. Thursday, May 30th, 2024. My name is Brian Craig, and you are listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. We have a lot to cover today, and your calls. You know, Joe Biden just had what may have been a historic presidential event yesterday in Philadelphia. He very well may have had the smallest gathering for a sitting president's public speech in the history of the modern presidency. This is very strange. You know, Biden's trip to Philadelphia is getting all kinds of press, but the biggest takeaway they're not covering. How many of you have been to Philadelphia? Here's some advice. Do not walk the streets of Philadelphia, okay, alone. It's a rough area, but hey, it's a Democrat town. Listen to this. This is in the gateway. This is absolutely amazing. Joe Biden's mini town hall-sized rally in Philadelphia yesterday was held in a school gym, right? Now, of course, last week, President Trump had a pop-up rally in the Bronx where thousands and thousands of black and Hispanic voters from the Bronx showed up in a very blue city. So Philadelphia is a blue city, too. It's been a Democrat city forever, and Biden showed up. And this was a campaign stop because the Biden campaign, they're not doing as well as they would normally do in Pennsylvania. They're losing support among African Americans. So he went to Philly to jazz everybody up, gin up some support, and it was a disaster. Listen to this. I've never seen something like this. It could have been worse, but there were about 39 people in attendance. You heard me right, 39 people in attendance at the Biden event in Philadelphia. It was in a school gym, and the press outnumbered the attendees. It's in the Gateway Pundit. I've never seen anything like it. I really haven't. And then he said a lot of stupid things. And by the way, the 39 that showed up were not there by choice. There were kids who were taken there. So it's not like they drove across town or anything. They were commanded to go. And, you know, most Democrat events are like this, but the press never report it. You know, at Trump's events, they cover up the crowd size. At the Democrat events, they cover up the crowd size. But they, in both instances, they do it for incredibly different reasons. At the Trump events, they don't want you to know how many people are there. At the Democrat events, they don't want you to know how few are there. And this has been something that's been rather consistent with Democrats since I've been following the news. You know, sometimes some Democrats, they'll meet on a street corner. There'll be 6 to 10 of them. But the press never tell you that. And they film up close to the half a dozen or a dozen that are there to make it look like a big crowd. And, you know, when I first started realizing this is when I started going to political events. And I remember I went to this one Democrat liberal protest event. This was many, many years ago. And it was bizarre. And the entire press showed up. Television showed up. Newspapers showed up. I remember there was in particular a reporter from the Miami Herald who was there. And there were 15 people there. And this one guy spoke. He had a podium with a microphone set up with a speaker system, and he gave a speech. I couldn't believe it. And I remember watching the news that night on television and reading the stories the next day in the Miami Herald and the Sun Sentinel, and they didn't mention that there were only like 15 people there. And the 15 people, I think I guess I was be included in that because I was there. And it's really been a creation of the media. It's that Democrat events, positions, and people that are Democrats are incredibly popular. It's really a myth, propaganda, an urban legend. It's just not true. Now, because the left-wing viewpoint is so overrepresented in every type of media there is, you think it's the most popular, but it's not. It's a very minority opinion. And it's even more of a minority opinion than it has been in the past. So only 39 kids showed up to see Biden. They had to cram them into a gym. You know, I remember when I went to the town hall, Jake Tapper, who Trump calls Fake Tapper. When I went to the town hall after the Parkland shooting that CNN had, that was televised live on CNN in prime time, it was at the arena by the Sawgrass Mills Mall where the Florida Panthers play hockey. And this was a big deal. They had both Florida senators there. One of them was a Democrat at the time, Nelson. Marco Rubio was there. The sheriff of Broward County, Scott Israel, was there. It was hosted by Jake Tapper. They had NRA representatives there, national NRA representatives. It was a big town hall on stage. They had the Parkland kids there, remember that? And the arena was almost empty. And I was in the audience, you guys remember the harassment that they put me through, CNN. But they had us all in one section. I was in one section looking at the stage, and then there was a second section which was filled in areas around the stage where the cameras would be. And right before they went live on CNN, they were doing camera tests and having us all move so no empty spaces were shown on CNN to make it look like there was a massive arena of people coming out to see Jake Tapper and this CNN live town hall when it was really just a handful of people, and many of them were brought in that were like professional activists and the local Democrats and stuff like this. And I couldn't believe what I was watching a Lenny Riefenstahl production live. I couldn't believe the propaganda that goes into the news. And that's most definitely what it is. And, these Trump rallies are amazing. You have thousands of people show up at them. And everybody gets there on their own. There's no busing. There's no organized tours. They don't bring kids in on field trips from school. They don't have them in school gyms and require the students to show up. They're all organic and they're all real. And that's scary to the establishment because The populist viewpoint is the opposite of what the permanent Washington class want you to believe it is. And, you know, this is going to be a phenomena that lasts for the rest of President Trump's life. He is always going to have these events and these rallies. It's become a thing. It's living history. And if you go and watch Biden to this really small, very tiny group of people that saw him in Philadelphia, when you watch the news coverage, you don't see it because, like that CNN town hall I went to, they do blocking. They set it up so all the camera angles have people behind them, as if they're out there with the signs that were given to them. It's really a sad thing that in the United States, we're supposed to be the freest country in the world. I hope we are. I don't know, all this stuff that's going on. But in the freest country in the world, that the news is so crafted. Is the press really free, or is it state-controlled? Most of it, at least the national stuff, seems to be state-controlled, it would seem. If you're on hold, hang in there. We've got a lot to cover. We'll cover all the events of yesterday. I want to go through some of these things with Biden because he said a lot of stupid things. Our number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. And for Biden to have such a small crowd in a strong Democrat area, that's the story. You know, you ever heard that expression, burying the lead? The lead is that he went to a deep blue Democrat stronghold, Philadelphia, and no one showed up to see him. That's it. That's the lead. But that's the story they don't want you to cover. All these people in the press, they act like they want the big story. They're searching for the big story. They don't really want the big story. There's big stories every day, and they cover them up. And you got to wonder, the people in the media, are they aware of it? I think they are. Remember Joy Behar told Bill Maher last week that she holds back her criticism of Biden because she's afraid if she tells her viewers on The View what she really thinks about Joe Biden, that it might drive people not to vote for him and vote for Trump. Remember, she said that last week. It's crazy. Crazy. She openly admitted it. The quiet part out loud. Well, that's how all the media are. And The View is under the umbrella of ABC News, by the way. It's part of the news division. All right. If you're on hold, hang in there. We're going to take our first break of the day. My name is Brian Craig. You are listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. Our number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. We'll be right back.
Don't sit on the sidelines. Get in on the action. Call the Steve Kane Show live on air now. 888-COCAINE-1. This is the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
Every 15 seconds, a home is burglarized. That means by the time...
Where am I?
Four more families will have had their private space violated, their belongings stolen, their sense of security destroyed.
That's why hundreds of thousands of people have trusted the Sloman Shield home security system to keep their families safe. You can too. Just call 833-283-5050 right now, and you can get a free home security system plus your choice of a free indoor monitoring camera or programmable thermostat when you subscribe to Sloman's low-cost monitoring service for 5 years. With the Sloman Shield, you can arm and disarm your system remotely, view your home from any smartphone or tablet, lock your doors, control your thermostat, even turn your lights on and off. To get your free security system plus your choice of a free indoor monitoring camera or programmable thermostat, call 833.
We have Junior Joe at 8 today.
Oh, he's coming in?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty sure. I'll make sure that he
Mm-hmm.
calls to see it, but
Mm-hmm.
he came the last few times. I'm sure it's something else.
All right. Welcome, everyone. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. If you're on hold, hang in there.
Crispy on the outside, succulent on the inside, everything homemade, nothing comes out of a can. Dozens of specialty sauces that will make your mouth water. Wings Plus, located in Coral Springs, a mile
We'll be back
west of
shortly.
University on the south side of Sample Road.
Get ready for summer reading. Come to the June 8th summer reading kickoff party from 9 a.m. to noon at the Spanish River Library in Boca Raton. Donate on their website, bocalibraryfriends.org.
Well, thank you, Charmaine,
Shop in
yes.
their bookstore.
Yeah, you got to thank the moderators. The moderators free me up so that I don't have to pay attention to the chat as closely for trolls, and I can concentrate on the content on the program. And that's because of the moderators. Before we had moderators, oh, it was very distracting. Here we go.
Now, back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig. Listen in the Palm Beaches on 95.9 FM, the Treasure Coast on 106.9 FM, hear us in Boca on 95.3 FM, Fort Lauderdale on 96.9 FM, and anywhere in the world at True Oldies.
All right, callers on hold, stand by. By the way, this event I'm talking about in the school gym in Philadelphia, don't just take my word for it. Go to my Twitter, Brian Craig Show on Twitter. I posted a story about this, and there's photographs that were taken. And you can see how they set up an entire set. And it's very small, but on camera, it looks big. If you guys saw my YouTube video over the weekend where I went to that Star Trek set, it's an exact replica of the original Star Trek Enterprise set from the 60s, built with the same plans. I was surprised how small some of those places were. On TV, they look big. That's how sets are. It's a set. They had a Biden set right there. Now, before we go to the phones and move on to some other topics, because there's a lot in the news we're going to cover, I want to talk about MyPillow. With our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, it's free shipping on all orders over $75, and you can use our promo code site-wide. Now, yesterday in the chat room on YouTube Live during the show, I asked people to tell me what their favorite MyPillow products were, and there were about half a dozen that were the most common. And one of the most common that people mentioned were the MyPillow My Slippers. You know, I have 2 pairs of the MyPillow My Slippers. They come in a whole bunch of different sizes and colors for both men and women. And for the guys, they got a whole bunch of new sizes that are wider and bigger. They're always coming in with new sizes, especially for the men. And the MyPillow My Slippers are spectacular. They're good for all-day wear. Calling them a slipper really does not do them justice. They're made for all-day wear and out and about. I often wear mine out and about. And they come with a multi-layer comfort system. You know, Mike Lindell, everything he does is high quality. Layer 1 is the MyPillow patented fill. The patented foam that's from the pillows is in these slippers. Layer 2 is the comfort memory foam. It gives you all kinds of incredible comfort to your feet. The third layer is the patented impact gel, which absorbs impact and relieves pressure, which is great because, you know, I have a curved spine and, you know, I got to have good shoes. It helps with that. And the final layer is the indoor-outdoor layer, and it's finished with high-quality leather suede. Comes in many different colors. Now, the original price for these is $149.98. That's what I paid for mine, $149.98, and worth every penny. But with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, you can save $90 off, just $59.98. They make a great Father's Day gift and a great gift for yourself too, guys. But they're great, and the women's have the same layers, and they have some other colors for the ladies too that they don't have in the men's, and they have smaller sizes for the ladies. Just $59.98 with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, good morning. Good morning.
Hey, Rich. Hey, Richie.
Yeah, well, I'm kind of shocked that you opened your show with a topic like this. Now, Brian, you're a smarter guy than I am. You have to know that why would anyone want to go to Philadelphia to see Joe Biden when they have?
Wait a second. I'm sorry. Maybe I'll call you and, you know, what do you mean you're surprised I start off with this topic?
Because Democrats don't have to worry about it. They got $88 million printed up.
Okay, why do you think I started with that?
Oh, I'm only being sarcastic with you. I'm trying to say that there's no 88 million people who want this guy.
Yeah.
About.
All right. Well, then let's just sign off and not talk about anything anymore. If it's all a waste of time, Richie. Listen, the reason I started with that story, just to give you some inside stuff, I want to explain. The reason I started with that, am I bothering you?
Oh, no.
Okay, I heard some, you know. The reason I started with that, of course I'm going to talk about everything that happened in court yesterday, but the reason that I started with that story is because, one, I'm listening to the news all morning long, and they're playing soundbite after soundbite, which I'm going to play some of coming up from that speech. But none of them mention that there were only 39 people in attendance, and the majority of them were children that were forced to be there, that were brought in by school teachers, okay? So it shows you the bias of the media, including Fox News Channel. In fact, I was going to lead with a different story, and right after I got to the radio station, I was listening to the different news stations on the way in. They were all covering the Philadelphia speech, and they were covering everything other than the crowd size. So that's why I changed what I was going to lead with because of the fake news coverage, and which includes Fox. The other reason, Richie, I'm not defending myself to you. I'm just explaining to the audience where I'm going, okay? And the other reason I shared it, it shows you the incredible desperation that the Democrats are feeling right now. And that's why this lawfare thing is continuing.
150%. I'm 100, and when I say you shouldn't have opened on a topic like this, I'm only being sarcastic.
Oh, I missed the sarcasm.
See, my sense of humor, I guess, didn't hit you early.
No.
What I'm trying to say is, would anyone go to see it?
Yes. Yeah. Because because I'll tell you why. When you're in a Democrat city, we're talking about Philadelphia here. Philadelphia is Pennsylvania. Out of all of Pennsylvania, Philadelphia is the Democrat stronghold of Pennsylvania. Used to be different, but the unions have changed. It's the Democrat stronghold, and they couldn't even get adults to go. Not any. The only adults there are the chaperones for the kids and the press and the White House staffers. The Democrats are in big, big trouble, and they know it.
They don't have COVID. They don't have COVID to have the mail-in ballot.
All right, I'm not. Open Phones is on Friday, Richie. Open Phones is on Friday. Today is Thursday. It's not Friday. And this attendance at the Philadelphia event with Biden yesterday. It is one of the reasons that you see CNN and others talking about a replacement for Biden, which is not going to happen. There has not been a sitting president who has had such small turnouts for them. Ever. Not since the modern era. In fact, not only has it not happened, I know it hasn't happened, because they try to avoid that embarrassment. You know how difficult it is to play to an empty house? It's not easy. You're a big-time celebrity, and you show up to an empty house. It's depressing. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, it's Ben Papado.
Hey, Ben.
So, yeah, I thought it was pretty astonishing because, like you were saying, Philadelphia is the 6th largest city in the country. It's hyper-Democrat. This is an election year, and the president's coming. This also plays into what I told you the other day, that we're on Twitter, or yesterday on Twitter, he routinely gets ratioed. He's the lowest approval rating out of any president since we started taking polling.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever seen The Truman Show? The Jim Carrey, where they create this entire mirage of this world that doesn't exist? That's what the media is doing, because there's all these indicators that nobody likes this guy, not even Democrats.
Well, and this fits into the jury. Okay? New York and Philadelphia are equally as Democrat. And what the Bronx has shown us, what Philly showed us yesterday, is that Democrats are fed up. It's like they've seen the guy behind the curtain, like in The Wizard of Oz. They're fed up and tired of it.
Yes, and it's the only thing that it's so pathetic to see. Out of all the things, like for instance, the media, they had the other day the verdict count clock right next to Jake Tapper.
Mm-hmm.
In COVID, they had the COVID tracker.
Yeah.
They create this reality, which is just completely divorced from the actual events that people would care about if they were actually introduced to them. But the media is constantly trying to nudge the public opinion in one direction, even if they're keeping on life support. the popularity of this president. I mean, in a normal country, no one would care about this guy, and they wouldn't even cover him. But because the media is in league in a branch of the Democratic Party, well, they're just going to cover it. They're going to make it look like there are a lot of people there. He's really popular. And so it's just like the Truman Show, you know?
Well, if they can't, I want you to think about this. If they can't get anyone to, and they literally got no one to show up. They got the 39 kids that were brought in, that were forced to go, okay, to fill the seats, seat fillers. If they can't get one person to show up to see Biden speak, because in a Democrat area like Philadelphia, how are they going to get a jury to convict, even with these weird rules that the judge gave yesterday, where they don't even need a majority verdict?
That, I mean, Eugene Carroll, that should have been, that woman was a...
Civil cases are different. Civil cases are different. In a civil case, one, you don't need majority, and there's a different level to find liability. It's a much, much lower bar to reach than a criminal case.
Well, I hear you. That case, that judge, giving them like pages upon pages of instructions, but not writing it down, so they have to memorize it. They have to routinely send notes back. Already, they're sending notes back because the judge is not giving them. Like standard protocol, as Jonathan Turley explained, was if you give them all these rules, it's like 55 rules. You give them a sheet of paper so they can know what to do. But he's like, no, if you want me to repeat them, I will, but I won't.
Well, the reason, my guess is, the reason the corrupt judge did that is if the rules are complex and they're not written down, who's to say what the rules really are? He can make them up as he goes.
Exactly, and he's counting on jurors maybe forgetting one and then delivering a verdict that violates the rules, but he doesn't say anything. Because there's just... You know,
many years ago, Steve and I went to this Republican Party event in Broward County, and some liberals had taken over the Republican Party, and there was a controversial vote that the Republican Party was going to take. And they they worded the language of the vote. This was nuts, where yes meant no, and no meant yes. And they did, and when the vote came down, of course, what they wanted won. But people really voted for the opposite, you know, and of course lawyers run these things. So yeah, now we know why there's two lawyers on the jury. They're there to help confuse with the judge.
Yeah, it's manufactured confusion in order to, you know, bring back a desired result. Like, he's not making this easy. He's not making this straightforward. And everything about this is straightforward. You know, like, they're overly complicating it. They were making it dry and boring to, like, torture.
And what's this business that they don't have to agree on the crime he's guilty of? If some people believe he's guilty of this and some other people believe he's guilty of running a stop sign at a rolling stop in Florida, he's guilty? I mean, it's very bizarre. I've never heard anything like this in a criminal trial.
Yeah, it's naked corruption. And Elise Stefanik just filed an ethics complaint on the quote-unquote random.
Yeah, that'll go nowhere.
Seems like...
I like Elise Stefanik. I mean, that's just a symbolic thing she did, you know.
I hear you. At least she's doing something. But at the same time, I think she's pointing out what we all know. This guy was tailor-made for this case. You know, he has a personal hatred of Donald Trump. He's probably like poster child of Trump derangement syndrome. And they're like, you know, there's no way he was...
But I'll tell you guys this, okay? Alec Baldwin. No, I don't like Alec Baldwin, and no one likes Alec Baldwin, right? No one likes Alec Baldwin. But if I were on that jury and they're going after him, I would probably find, based on what I know, I would probably find Alec Baldwin not guilty because I think he had reasonable assumption that the gun had blanks in it since it was a prop gun that a prop girl gave to him. I would probably, now again, trial we'll get evidence, but right now I would go probably not guilty on Alec Baldwin, and I despise that man, right? But I'm a fair American.
Yes, so this is exactly, okay, so this points to exactly the difference between the Democrat thinking point and the Republican thinking point. Mike DeWine just recently held a special session in order to get Joe Biden back on the ballot in Ohio. Their dumb campaign team didn't file paperwork. On the flip side, Democrats are intense in trying.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that just goes to show you that Republicans, even at our own expense, are nicer than Democrats, you know?
Yeah. All right. Appreciate the call. All right. Take care. If you're on hold, hang in there. We'll take our break and be right back.
Making morning radio great again. I think you're going to really love it. It's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
If you're on hold, hang in there, guys. He sure did fail him. Exactly. The best, it's not really a meme, but it's close. The best meme of Robert De Niro was the front page of the New York Post yesterday. Welcome. If you're new, subscribe. If you're on hold, hang in there. We're going to get back to the phones after the break. Yeah, and so far as changing what I was going to lead with, you know, you guys, you know, I usually what I'm going to lead with is what the YouTube thumbnail and title are about. And I had a completely different thing. And when I got here to the radio station, I changed the thumbnail and the title to the video. I don't know if you noticed that. Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. It just really ticked me off that the media is all about that Philadelphia speech, and they're covering everything other than the big story, which that nobody showed up. Especially after Trump has had these massive events. You did notice, yes. That happens on rare occasions. Every once in a while it'll happen. Yes.
That's 626-4377. Or check out our website at nutritionworld.com. Come see us 7 days a week at Nutrition World Palm Beach Gardens.
Are you living your best life? Are you feeling the way you know you should be? This is John, CFO at Lighthouse.
But it's not on demand of what Richie wants to hear come out of my mouth. I mean, you know, my goodness.
They're full of energy after a long day, reduced their risk of heart disease, sexual vigor and excitement are great, sleeping the way they should without disturbances, and reducing their symptoms of aging. Our all-natural hormone optimization
Why?
therapy is precise,
Why, Anthony?
easy, and effective from day one. Office visits are usually less than 5
He calls in and criticizes me. I'm just supposed to say, okay, criticize me and not criticize back.
and living your best life. Our family medical practice has been serving South Florida for over 71 years. Let us show you what personalized medical care and being treated like family feels like. Call us at 754-222-6642. That's 754-222-6642. Or visit us at lighthousemedicalcenter.com to schedule your consultation today.
Yeah, that's not my problem. Not my problem.
This is John from Lighthouse Medical Center, CFO and Director of Neuropathy. We want to welcome you to Lighthouse Medical Center this year. It's our 75th anniversary. We've been able to
I particularly don't, yeah, well, maybe he is, Carol. I particularly don't like it right as I'm starting. Because basically, he's calling in, I can't believe you're leading with this, like I'm, you know, it's like trying to undermine me.
patients come to Lighthouse Medical Center, being able to see the quality improved in their life and being able to help them and their family has been a blessing to us and a blessing to them.
Believe me,
Look forward to doing that.
I think very carefully about everything I do on the air.
Medical Center, we have a specialized knee pain program with non-surgical solutions for bone-on-bone and knee pain issues. We also treat chronic back,
Very carefully.
knee, hip, and shoulder pain. Call for a free consultation with us today. 754-222-6642. 754-222-6642. afford to.
Now is the best time when the market is challenged to consider copper, gold, silver, battery metals, clean tech, biotech, and AI equities. Listen to Money Talk Radio South Florida with me, Ellis Martin.
Thank you, Carol.
30 a.m. weekdays here on your true oldie station.
Now, back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig, celebrating 47 years on the air.
All right, callers on hold, stand by. 38 minutes after the hour. I don't know if I took that break way late or what, but it seems kind of late in the hour to come back from the bottom of the hour. So let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Mike from Louisiana.
Hey, Mike.
You know, the thing, you mentioned him, Biden not getting but 39 people at his rallies. The problem with this is, the thing is that what the Democrats and some of the Republicans don't understand is what Andrew Brightmore used to like to say, politics is downstream of culture, right? These Trump rallies aren't just political rallies, they've become cultural events.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, and
no, you're right.
When you're getting when you have a guy that can draw people into a place, 25,000 people into a place that's only designed to hold 3 or 4,
mm-hmm.
That's big. That's a cultural event.
Yeah.
People want to be at these Trump rallies.
Absolutely. 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 All right, Mike, appreciate the call. Thanks so much. Now, I'm going to play a couple clips of Biden, but, you know, he really got no one to show up because the 39 kids, they didn't go. They were taken to the rally, okay, taken out of class or something. I don't know. Are schools still in? I don't keep track of that stuff anymore since I don't have a kid in school. But here's Biden. He's got the fake people behind him, the fake crowd, the fake attendees, and, of course, he's trying to get black support back. So he's talking about things out of the 70s and 80s.
They're trying to erase black history. We're going to write black history because it's American history.
They're trying to erase black history. Who's trying to erase black history? You know, when the Democrats take down these Confederate monuments, they're erasing black history. And black history in this country, a big part of it is that Democrats, like Joe Biden, used to own black people, right? That's a big part of it. And they don't want you to know that part of black history. But who's, other than the Democrats, who's trying to undo black history or rewrite it other than the Democrats? Now this comment, this is just so bizarre.
On Memorial Day, I proudly stood with a black man.
What? You know, this is what I'm talking about. You know, when people are suffering from severe dementia, and if you've had anybody in your life that's suffering or has suffered from Alzheimer's, you may have experienced this. And one thing I've learned from people I've had in my own family that have had dementia, Alzheimer's and other age-related dementia issues, they don't know where they are right now, and they don't know where they were yesterday, but they know where they were 50 years ago, like it was this morning. It's true. And Biden, so much of what he talks about is out of the 70s because he's reverted back to that. What's going on now, he doesn't know what's going on. And back in the 70s, I guess, being a white Democrat, standing next to a black man somewhere was some big deal, like you're some kind of freedom rider or something, some kind of civil rights leader because you're a white senator who stood next to a black man. I got news for you. It's no big deal anymore, okay? We have a completely integrated society, and these things have all been settled, and that's it. All right, here's Biden again in Philadelphia.
The threat that Trump poses is greater in his second term than his first. It's clear that when he lost in 2020, something literally snapped in the sky. No, I'm serious. That's why January 6th happened, when he unleashed an insurrection.
Now again, back to this lie. President Trump has been cleared multiple times, including by Liz Cheney's Kangaroo Committee, including the Justice Department and FBI. He had nothing to do with an insurrection or January 6th.
Now, he's running again, and he's clearly unhinged. He calls insurrectionists who stormed the Capitol patriots. Patriots. If reelected, he wants to pardon, quote, every one of them.
Now, first off, he has not said that. He has not said he's going to pardon everyone who's been charged and imprisoned on January 6th. He has not said that. He said he's going to look into it. He's going to look into pardons. He has never said he's going to pardon everyone. Maybe he should, maybe he shouldn't. Maybe someone did something. Right? So no, he's never said that. But again, the propaganda. Repeat a lie often enough, and people will believe it. That's Goebbels.
Let me ask you, what do you think he would have done on January 6th if black Americans had stormed it? Think about this. What do you think would have happened if black Americans had stormed the Capitol? I don't think he'd be talking about pardons. It's the same guy who wanted to tear gas you as you peacefully protested George Floyd's murder.
Okay, peaceful protest. If you remember peaceful protest, they were burning down Washington. Now, this was covered up. But I remember I was watching one of the anchor ladies on Fox, and she was she's one of the Washington-based ones, and she was talking this one day. She was jogging that morning, and she was jogging through burned-out neighborhoods that had been burned and defaced and vandalized by these BLMers. The media didn't show you that stuff too much. They didn't want you to know what they were doing. Remember, Trump walked over to the church? Why do you think he went to the church?
Guy who still calls the Central Park Five guilty, even though they were exonerated.
They're exonerated. Jay from Jersey will probably be calling. He heard Central Park 5. The Central Park 5 confessed to their crimes. They confessed. Some of them had their parents with them while they confessed. Think about it. What could get you to confess to a rape that you did not do? The reason people confess to crimes like that is typically when people confess to serious crimes, rapes, murders, they know they got them, they confess in hopes of a plea deal to reduce the penalty. Innocent people don't confess. Now, what had happened with the Central Park 5 is they became like, I don't know, urban legends or heroes, anti-heroes, whatever, and they started to gain support among certain circles, so they changed their story because there was a window. President Trump, like everybody else in the country, said they were guilty after they confessed.
Murder. The same guy who still calls the Central Park Five guilty, even though they were exonerated.
Can't even speak.
Landlord who denies housing applications because of the color of your skin.
That has never happened. That's another big urban legend. There has never been a black person who has come forward and said that Donald Trump refused their housing application. These are all liberal urban legends that they've repeated so much that even they believe them. You mean to tell me that if there was an African American person who was denied an application to purchase or rent a property from Donald Trump, and they were denied because they were black, you don't think that person would be all over television? Do you know how valuable that story is? The rejection letter itself, it's worth millions of dollars.
He's that guy who won't say Black Lives Matter and invokes neo-Nazi Third Reich terms.
Really? When did he do that? When did Donald Trump start quoting the Nazis? And he won't say Black Lives Matter. You know, he doesn't support the Black Lives Matter organization. That doesn't mean that he thinks that black lives do not matter. And I think everybody knows this.
We all remember Trump is the same guy who unleashed birthism. The birthism lie against Barack.
The birthism about Barack. No, that's also not true. By the way, I am listening to this cold. I did not listen to this soundbite before I played it. And just off the top of my head, I'm ripping it apart. Let me play that last part again.
Nazi Third Reich terms. We all remember Trump is the same guy who unleashed birthism. The birthism lie against Barack.
The birthism lie with Barack. Donald Trump did not start the birth certificate thing. That was started by Hillary Clinton when she was running in the Democrat primary against Barack Obama, okay, in 2008. The Democrats started the birtherism. It was Hillary Clinton's campaign who first started asking for the birth certificate. Now, Donald Trump, years later, after Obama was president, asked for it, and Obama eventually produced something, okay? But that is not true. The Democrats, Hillary Clinton in particular, started the birther business. They rewrite the history that we've lived through while we're still living through it. That's why I think my history degree is worth nothing, because when I see that they make up and rewrite history that I've lived through, that you've lived through, and I know they have because I experienced it, could you only imagine what else they've been rewriting before any of us were alive, and we just have to take their word for it? Let's take our last break of the first hour. I'm Brian. We'll be right back.
The cold, hard truth. Delivered morning 6 to 9 right here on The Steve Kane Show.
Brian Craig here. I've suffered with massive pain in my knee for years, but not anymore. It's all gone, thanks to Dr. Appleton and his laser away pain system. I'm in studio right now with Dr.
This is crazy.
Dr. Appleton, how'd you do?
Completely insane. It just blows me away.
Now, you don't just help with knees. Tell the listeners what other areas you can help with.
Any joint I can do. Shoulder pain, hip pain, sciatica, stenosis, arthritis, tendinitis.
My goodness. I mean, everything there was a lie. And I you know, everything the man said was a complete lie.
No surgery and no drugs. He's open 6 days a week and same-day appointments.
You know, and Democrats are cool with that. They think lying's okay because the ends justify the means. Now, if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. And everyone who's already subbed, please like the video. That helps a lot, guys. It really does. It's very frustrating. It really is. And the media just carry it like it's the gospel. It's very frustrating. It's very upsetting. It really is.
Tom Laporta here from Laporta Contracting, Roofing, and Building Restoration. I am pleased to say our relationship with the Steve Kane Show
Very frustrating. But that's how they are.
Stronger and stronger.
You know?
The Steve Kane Show listeners are truly the best customers we've ever had. They are courteous, intelligent, honest, and
We'll be back in 38 seconds.
projects for the listeners, from repairs, single-family homes, large HOA complexes, and churches with great success, and every one of those customers are like family. We have installed all kinds of roofs, from asphalt shingles, clay and concrete tile, standing metal seam, slate tile, and flat roof systems. So come on and let our family take care of your family. Call me on my cell at 954-604-4602 or find us on the web at laportacontracting.com. The number again is 954-604-4602.
We take on the social justice warriors for breakfast. Now the Steve Kane Show is on the air.
All right, we are back 8 minutes before 7. Callers on hold, stand by. You know, I got a call yesterday from someone in my family, immediate family actually. They don't live in the house, but an immediate family person. And they were asking if I could call over to Dr. Appleton's office and get them an appointment and get them in, like, immediately because they're in pain. I said, I don't have to. You can just show up. Appointments are not necessary. Walk-ins are welcome. You don't need any special connections. You know, Dr. Appleton understands that when you're in pain, you need help, you need relief, and you need it now. That's why appointments are not necessary and walk-ins are welcome even on Saturdays. And, you know, the laser away, I can call ahead, I can send him a text message or something, but you don't have to do that. You could just show up. I've never had an appointment for Dr. Appleton's. I just show up. Yeah. And I know a lot of you do too. And because you're in pain, you got to go. I can't call and make an appointment and wait. I just got to go and get help now. And that's what you get with Dr. Appleton. You know, his laser away pain treatment works, and it works on so many different types of pain: arthritis, bursitis, work injuries, sports injuries, strains and sprains, post-surgical swelling, neck injuries, back injuries, knee pain, tinnitus, sciatica, spinal stenosis, fibromyalgia, plantar fasciitis. I can't even say some of these things. Rotary tears, herniated discs, acute pain, chronic pain. If you're in pain, he can help. Give him a call. His number, 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. And online, Appleton Chiro. Give Dr. Appleton a call and say bye-bye to your pain. All right, now, did you see this weird thing that happened with the MSNBC legal analyst and this corrupt judge, Mercan, yesterday live on air? You got to love live TV. People say crazy stuff on live TV. This is a man. He is a legal analyst for MSNBC, and he's talking about Judge Mercan.
With respect to Judge Mercan, I mean,
I'm sorry, Mercan. I apologize. Judge Mercan.
With respect to Judge Mercan, I mean, I am like now, you know, I have like a man crush on him. He is such a great judge that.
Oh my goodness, a man crush. So he's got like I don't know who this guy is. He's an MSNBC legal analyst. I don't know what his preferred pronouns are or his sexuality is, but he is attracted to this judge. Okay, it's one thing to be attracted to somebody. It's another thing to, in the course of a professional broadcast where you're there to give professional legal analysis of a very high-profile criminal proceeding that's taking place right now for MSNBC News, which is part of NBC News, and then all of a sudden, you're talking about who you have the hots for? You know, Alina Habba, she dresses provocatively, and she looks like a fembot supermodel. Could you imagine if you were watching Fox and all of a sudden you heard Jonathan Turley talk about how he's got a crush on her and her cleavage is so... What would you think? You would think he was a weirdo creep, Turley. Right? But this guy on MSNBC, oh boy, listen.
With respect to Judge Mercan, I mean, I am like now, you know, I have like a man crush on him. He is such a great judge that it's hard to see that jurors wouldn't have the same impression. I mean, you just keep on thinking, if you looked at a dictionary for like judicial temperament, that's what you get.
Well, he's in love with this guy, and this is his legal analysis. He's in love with him, so he doesn't understand. And by the way, he's got a real thing for this guy. And he thinks that Judge Mercan is just so attractive, inside and out, and that he is so attracted to him that he can't see how the whole jury couldn't feel the same way. What a weirdo. This is like Jeffrey Toobin, with a couple of differences, over on CNN. I mean, this is bizarre. Never heard such a thing. Now, I'll tell you, though, about the judge and his instructions. Now, I'm no lawyer, but my understanding has always been that in a criminal court proceeding, that you must have a unanimous verdict in a jury trial. It's not 4 people, it's 12 people, unless it's a 6-person jury, and then it's 6, not 2. The bar is so high for a reason. You know, the government, when they prosecute people, have unlimited resources, powers, and authorities, right? You know this. We see it all the time. And in a criminal trial, you're talking about taking a person, and I'm not talking about just the Trump trial, I'm talking about any criminal trial. You're talking about taking someone's freedom away and putting them in a cage, maybe for the rest of their life. That's why the bar is so high, because the stakes are high. And that's why that we have 12-person juries, and you must have a unanimous verdict, otherwise you have a hung jury. There's 4 people, a third, and then they don't even have to agree on the crime? I don't get this. You know, this idea that Trump is responsible for everything that Michael Cohen did, he paid him for generic legal services. Yesterday, I had to have a AC guy come to my house. It's pretty hot, man. I mean, it's like over 100 degrees on multiple days here in Florida. So I had the AC guy come out and do some servicing on the air conditioner. I had to do it a couple times recently, actually. And when he was done, you know, everything's done electronically now. The repairmen, they got iPads, they do everything on the iPad. When the guy was done, I was out in the front yard of my house, and he pulled up the invoice on his iPad. You ever try to read something on an iPad in the sun? You can't see it, right? He showed me an invoice. He told me it was the invoice for the air conditioning maintenance and repair that he did. He said, do you have a debit card? You can swipe your card. I swiped the card, and then I signed it. I couldn't read it because I couldn't read what I was signing. He told me it was for air conditioning maintenance services. I believed him. I paid him. I don't know what he did. I know he opened up the unit and did some stuff in there. I don't know, but I take his word for it. That's how it is when you hire someone to do something. You're not involved in the sausage making. Everyone knows this. Now, I know this guy on MSNBC has an attraction to the judge and doesn't seem why everybody else doesn't have an attraction to him either, so the judge can just get his way, which also shows this guy knows the judge's bias, hates Trump, and he thinks the jury should convict because he thinks the judge is hot. All right, we're going to take our break for the top of the hour. When we get back, there's much more to talk about and your calls. 1-888-465-2631. I'm Brian. We'll be back right after this.
WSFS 104.3 HD3 Miramar, WIRK 103.1 HD3 Indiantown, and Hurry Broward on 96.9 FM, Boca Raton on 95.3 FM, West Palm Beach on 95.9 FM, and in Martin County on 106.9 FM. Programming paid for by Vic Canales Media Group. Your home for the Steve Kane Show. From the all-year cooling weather center, serving South Florida 24/7 since 1973. Here's your oldies forecast.
Okay.
Would you eat this delicious tropical fruit every day? It could soothe your stiff and achy joints and help you regain.
And today, in 2 new letters.
Traffic, a service of the Palm Beach Kennel Club. PBKC is Palm Beach County's only OTB location, featuring exciting action from top horse tracks around the country, including thoroughbred action from New York, Kentucky, and California. And the Paddock Restaurant offers the ultimate sports and dining experience with over 140 new HD TVs, big screens, exceptional dining, and full bar. PBKC is your entertainment destination. Go to kennelclub.com.
Has been in the polls, it has been in fundraising. So is there a net positive to him from this whole thing?
Well, if you want to look at it from a political standpoint, I think then, yeah, that's different. We have Americans, we have people that were Biden supporters. I can't imagine how or why, but they're now waking up and saying, whoa, this is not America. This is very un-American, and we can't survive another 4 years of this. So if you want to look at it that way, sure. But
All right, callers on hold, stand by. Hour number 2 has begun. My name is Brian. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. I was reading this article during the break. This is insane what's going on here. The United States, this came out from this idiot Blinken, right? The United States is considering allowing Ukraine to strike targets inside Russian territory with American weapons. This is being called a major shift in the war. Hell yeah, that means we're allowing Russia. Now, this isn't the case anymore because the Soviet Union broke up. But during the days of the Soviet Union, not only was the Soviet Union the largest country in the world, my recollection from my middle school geography, and I stand to be corrected on this, but when the Soviet Union was in existence, it covered about 1/3 of the land of the earth. About. That's how big the Soviet Union is. And Russia is still pretty darn big. Okay? And Russia, which has never been conquered by some of the great armies, it doesn't mean that they've won everything, but they've never been conquered, and the reason is because of their size. That's why Napoleon and the Nazis didn't conquer them. They've lost things. They lost a brief war to Japan once, but they've never been conquered as a whole because the country is just too big. The Cold War era, which I've come to realize as I see all this military-industrial complex stuff, was all fake. The Cold War was all fake. Russia was never a threat. But that red phone that used to be in the White House, which I guess isn't there anymore, I don't know. We all grew up with this fear of nuclear war, right? And I think some of you may remember this. You know, they used to scare the living daylights out of us. There were these movies about nuclear wars happening between the United States and Russia coming out all the time when I was a kid. And sometimes they were like almost like documentary films, like The Day After was a big one. That was a big one, The Day After. And there were many others. Some of them are kind of like campy science fiction movies that take place after, right? The post-apocalyptic movie. The reason there are all these post-apocalyptic films, you know, like, is because of the Cold War. Everybody assumed that there was going to be a nuclear war with Russia. You know, they got this new Road Warrior thing out, and it bombed at the box office, right? It's a Road Warrior story about some girl. And I'm listening to all these people in the media, and they're conservatives, and they're saying, well, it's the Road Warrior without the Road Warrior, and, you know, nobody wants this new Road Warrior movie. It failed for a bunch of reasons, but one of the reasons is there's no fear of a war with Russia. In the 80s and in the 70s, people actually thought that we just assumed there was going to be a nuclear war. It was just a matter of when. You know, when that movie Red Dawn came out, like in '85, about the Russians invading the United States, that was like it's a great movie. I watch that movie like once a year at least. The Patrick Swayze one, not that remake. But that was viewed by people my age like a documentary film, all right? And there was always this fear of war with Russia, and you didn't want to go to war with Russia because they're a nuclear power. And, you know, there was a similar fear with even China. And if you remember in Vietnam, our guys were fighting Chinese soldiers in Vietnam, but we never struck China. I know, my dad fought against Chinese in Vietnam. Okay? Same thing in Korea. And Truman fired General MacArthur because General MacArthur allowed bombing inside China. Remember? We were fighting China there. But we weren't allowed to go in because you didn't want to escalate because they had the bomb. I'm not sure if China had the bomb during the Korean War, but later they certainly did, and Russia did. And now, the United States is authorizing bombing inside of Russia with U.S. weapons? Does that sound smart to you? You know, another thing too, and this is important stuff. It really is. We'll get back to the court. If you're on hold, stand by. I'll go to the phone shortly. But this is very important stuff. What would it do? How can Ukraine, using U.S. weapons, firing inside Russia, do a darn thing? It is so big. Now, of course, they can kill people, including civilians in Russia. I understand that. But what I'm talking about from a military perspective, whatever weapons Ukraine has that we've given to them, okay, how is that going to have any negative impact militarily on Russia's war effort? All it's going to do is piss them off and want them to get the people behind the war in Ukraine inside Russia and cause an escalation. There's nothing that Ukraine is going to do that's going to bring Russia to collapse or to a negotiation table and leave Crimea and the Ukrainian occupied territory. It is the United States openly provoking Russia to make the war bigger so they can make more money off of it. At least during Vietnam, they manufactured crap. The Tonkin Gulf incident, totally manufactured. They manufactured stuff. Now they're openly doing it. A lot of people believe that President Roosevelt knew about Pearl Harbor before it happened. I used to think all that was nuts, just like Bush knowing about 9/11. But now I see how they operate, and Bush probably did know about 9/11 in advance. Wouldn't be surprised. And FDR probably knew about Pearl Harbor in advance. Wouldn't be surprised about that either. Because there's so much money in war. This is insane. You know, before that, the United States is authorizing Ukraine to use U.S. weapons to attack inside Russia, where they could kill Russian civilians. Not just military personnel, but Russian civilians. Don't you think they should pick up that red phone and call Putin and have a conversation first and try to cool things down? Don't you think there should be a summit meeting between Putin and Biden and cool things down? Well, there's no money in peace. There's only money in war. Maybe Nikki Haley can go and sign some of those bombs too. This is really twisted stuff, what Blinken's talking about. This is how important this election is. This election's important for so many reasons, but they're trying to start the Third World War. Originally, I thought they were trying to just start another Cold War. Now they're trying to start a Third World War. And that area is very small. You start launching weapons into Russia, then NATO allies could be hit. This is insanity. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Coffee Maddie.
Hey.
From Sunrise. Hi.
How you doing?
I'm doing okay. A little bit depressed about poor Trump, but I'm okay. I'm hoping for the best. But yesterday I saw Jill Biden. She was on The View, and this was shocking. She was actually talking about how Trump is incoherent.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. Trump's incoherent and can't put a sentence together, Jill Biden said on The View. That's right.
You know what? I dislike her more than I dislike Biden because this is totally elder abuse.
Mm-hmm.
Sitting there smiling. Her husband has heavy dementia, and she's smiling, and then she's talking about how evil Trump is, trying to start something from some nut.
Well, you know, Jill Biden, here's the deal, okay? All this talk about who's running the country, Obama and all this stuff, it's Jill Biden. Jill Biden is running the country, okay? Now, that doesn't mean that she's overseeing every little thing, but she's really running the country. Everybody, there are people that have their own little areas and they're doing their own little thing, but Jill Biden's the big boss right now, and she has been this whole time. That's the way it is. The unofficial president of the United States was on The View, not the First Lady yesterday.
I honestly don't understand it. I really don't. I'm watching it and I'm thinking that I'm in the middle of crazy.
Well, no. What Jill Biden was doing, I saw that. She said that Donald Trump is incoherent and cannot even put a sentence together. That is right out of Saul Alinsky's Rules for Radicals. In Rules for Radicals, Saul Alinsky says, accuse your opponent of doing what you were doing. right? So Joe Biden's out of it, wearing the adult diapers and everything probably, can't speak. I mean, you heard those clips I played earlier. He can't even say anything. So she's accusing Trump of what her husband is. And then what happens to the View audience? They clap like it's true. Yeah.
I know. I don't watch The View. I only watch snippets of it.
Me too.
I stand all of them on The View.
And they keep calling her a doctor. She has an EDD degree, which is a doctorate of education. You know, you don't call people like that doctors outside of the classroom. Okay? You know, and the thing about that is, do you know where she got her doctorate from?
No.
She got it from the Education College at the University of Delaware. The college is named after Joe Biden. Do you really think she had to go and work hard for that doctorate from a school that's named after her husband like a normal person would do? Probably not. And she's been going around for years implying that she's like a medical doctor to give her more credibility. Dr. Biden. Bunch of nonsense.
It was laughable. It was really laughable on The View. I just couldn't believe that they thought that people would actually believe what they were saying.
Well, you remember when Biden first got elected, Whoopi Goldberg said on The View, she was not kidding, she thought that Joe should appoint Jill Biden to be the Surgeon General of the United States. She said she's a very good doctor. She'd be a great Surgeon General. That's what Whoopi Goldberg said that. I'm not kidding.
I can't even watch it. They're all way out. It's all, as I said, it's crazy town for me.
Yeah, but that's your, I appreciate the call. All right, take care. All right, that's the nice lady from the My Pillow coffee commercial. Okay, we'll take our break and be back.
Don't sit on the sidelines.
There we go.
Heck, you can even make yourself look like a unicorn. And with the Sloman's Shield home security system, you can do something really important too. Keep your family safe. Just call 833-283-5050 and you can get a free home security system. Plus your choice of a free indoor monitoring camera or programmable thermostat. When you subscribe to Sloman's low-cost monitoring service for 5 years, with the award-winning
Yep.
Shield,
That's right.
With the trillions of dollars missing,
Mm-hmm.
the hit is where they were looking into.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's money right there.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, during the break, sometimes you see me over here when I'm doing one of a couple things. I'm either reading some stories, getting some sound bites queued up, or answering emails and DMs. So now I'm doing all of those during this break, actually.
Don't just take my word for it. This is Richie the bus driver. He called in on the air to share his experience with Dr. Gupta. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, this is Richie, Dr. Gupta. I go 139 miles to this guy. I had a broken tooth. He fixed it. It was supposed to be kept going.
If you're new, make sure you subscribe. And if you're on hold, hang in there. I'm going to go to the phones right after the break.
Excellent and no pain. I recommend this guy. To me, he's the best ever. So I want to get that out of the way.
Listen to Richie the bus driver. Go see Dr. Gupta at Brighton Dental. 954-922-4633. 954-922-4633.
I try to answer as many of the emails and DMs as I can. I'm sorry if I don't get to yours, but it doesn't mean I haven't read it.
Is this guy with the pillows on Fox? My pillow guy. Mike Lindell. Where is Mike? He is the greatest. First of all, he does make a great product.
All right. If you're on hold, hang in there.
Believe it or not. He's been a supporter
always, President Trump
You have no degrees. You're probably the smartest person I know.
is so good, even President Trump sleeps on one. Support Mike Lindell, President Trump, and the Steve Kane Show at the same time. Go to MyPillow.com and use the promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, at checkout for huge savings on MyPillow products. Promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, at MyPillow.com.
Now, back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig. Listen in the Palm Beaches on 95.9 FM, the Treasure Coast on 106.9 FM, hear us in Boca on 95.3 FM, Fort Lauderdale on 96.9 FM, and anywhere in the world at
All righty, 19 minutes after the hour. Callers on hold, stand by. Just want to add a little bit to the kind words that President Trump gave about MyPillow. You know, the MyPillow 2.0, which is buy one, get one free with our promo code KANE at checkout, K-A-N-E. This is the MyPillow with the temperature regulating technology. And man, is it coming in handy these days with this hot weather. It's only May. We're getting over 100 degrees every day. It is hot, but not with the MyPillow 2.0. It keeps your head and neck the perfect temperature all night long. It has the same patented fill inside as the MyPillow that started it all, but the cover is made of that temperature regulating technology. It keeps your head and neck cool and comfortable all night long. You'll never flip the pillow over again looking for the cool side. Free shipping site-wide on all orders over $75 with our promo code KANE at checkout. And you could use our promo code KANE on all the specials at MyPillow.com. That's promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, at checkout at MyPillow.com. Or call toll-free 1-800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879. Promo code KANE, K-A-N-E. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Conservative Doug.
Hey, Doug.
Okay. You know, interesting you say that Biden get only, what is it, 30 people show?
It's not me. It's been reported in the Gateway Pundit. 39 people attended his Philadelphia event yesterday. 39.
Yet he got more votes.
Mm. Well, that was then and that was now. I mean, you know, why he had more people in the basement. Why is he only getting 39 people in one of the most Democrat minority cities in America?
Well, everybody is aware of what he's done and wrecked our country, so nobody likes this guy anymore, in my opinion. I mean, of course, there's going to be people that would vote for him no matter what he did.
Do you remember there was a movie called Demolition Man? Remember Demolition Man? Sylvester Stallone and Wesley Snipes. And Sandra, what's the girl's name from Speed? Sandra, not Sandra.
Bullock.
What is it?
Sandra Bullock.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever. And it was in the future, and they went out to dinner for a fancy dinner. Do you remember this scene? They went out to a fancy dinner. They got dressed up in suits. You remember where they went?
I have no idea.
They didn't go to McDonald's, but they went to Taco Bell. And in the future, in this movie, it was kind of a joke. All restaurants are Taco Bell, and fast food is luxury food. Well, that movie, Demolition Man, was actually what they call predictive programming, because if you go to fast food restaurants today, it's like going to it's a luxury meal. It's expensive for families. You know, I'm a big taco. Oh, it's expensive. You can see these $12, $18 Big Macs. I'm a big Taco Bell eater. I love Taco Bell. And I started, when I first moved out on my own, I used to go to Taco Bell all the time for two reasons. One, when I get off the air at 9 o'clock in the morning, I don't like breakfast food. I want lunch. And they're open. You can get tacos and burritos at 9 a.m. But it's cheap. It's cheap. And I went to Taco Bell week before last. I could not believe when they told me what the price was. I usually go to Taco Bell. I get the same thing. I get 5 crunchy tacos and a beef burrito. Okay, the people that work there, I'm starved. I don't eat them all at once necessarily, but I love them. I usually eat 3 or 4 of the tacos, but I'm starving, so my eyes are bigger than my stomach, and it's like a few bucks. Now it was like hefty. I was in shock. The prices have gone up so much. So Biden has actually made fast food like luxury food. And that's a problem because, fast food is not the best for you, but it's high calorie. And a lot of people that are low income turn to high calorie food that's not the healthiest because it's got the calories in it. It's filling that the family needs, the kids need. And now what are people doing? They're going without food.
Cutting back, or like I said, I sent you
on food, cutting back on food. Think about that.
I sent you a picture of the lines, of the food lines. I'd love to see President Trump have a video of that. Look what President Biden has done.
Food lines in America. Food lines in America. That's Biden's America.
Man, oh man, what this guy did. And brings me up to one more thing. Biden, I guess, is hoping that Judicial Watch I sent did add a picture of the non-citizen voter registration form.
Yeah. Yeah. You would think that's a joke. I thought you had to be a citizen to. I guess not anymore. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello?
Yes, you're on the air.
Hey, you guys just talked about something I wanted to talk about this morning myself. I'm in my early 40s. I've never paid so much for gasoline, so much for groceries. I can't afford to go out to eat anymore. I have a good job. Rent is through the roof. Joe Biden is absolutely killing us.
Yeah.
Every single way possible.
That's right.
People that still think he's doing a good job, I don't know what kind of drugs they're taking, but they should probably share some with the rest of us.
Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Palm Beach. I'm here in Riviera right now.
Yeah, Riviera. Listen, I was talking. I drove up to Georgia over the weekend, and I spent more on gas than I have spent on any type of road trip. I used to be able to drive to New York on what gas cost me just to get to Jacksonville, Florida. Gas prices have gone so high. Food prices are so high. And you know what? The Democrats don't care. They don't care.
They're delusional. I mean, we have so much fuel here in this country, and we refuse to pump it out of the ground. And if we do, we send it overseas for some reason. It makes no sense to me.
Do you know one of the biggest secrets to Florida? The Florida Everglades are filled with oil. On the other side of the Everglades in Collier County on the Gulf Coast, do you know there's oil wells in the Everglades that have been there for over 100 years? The Florida Everglades is a oil reservoir that's untapped. Can you imagine? It's a swamp of oil, and it's protected by the federal government. You can't drill there. It's sick.
It's terrible. It's terrible. When fuel comes down, everything else comes down.
Correct.
Biden wants to keep it inflated because he lives in the penthouse there, and he doesn't pay for anything.
The inflation is caused by two things. One is government spending too much money, which they're spending $1 trillion on this fake war in Ukraine, and the price of gasoline. The price of gasoline drives everything up because the cost of transporting everything goes up.
I don't know if you're a homeowner or not.
I am.
Florida, and my insurance keeps going up on my vehicles, my house. Where does all this money go to? And what are they doing with it? I mean, the roads are still bad, so you can't get anywhere on 95. I don't know if you've tried.
Let me tell you. My auto insurance, and I've been with State Farm since I was 17. Okay, my wife has been with State Farm since she was in high school too. My auto insurance is so high right now, and I only have I have full coverage on one car. I have one car that's so old I don't have full coverage, and I got my Vespa. It is many hundreds of dollars a month, and I have 0 claims, 0 accidents. I haven't had a ticket in 100 years, and it's through the roof. I mean, it's insane.
My car insurance for my 2019 pickup truck is almost as much as the car payment itself.
Do you have some DUIs or something?
Nothing.
You got a clean record.
Coverage.
Clean record.
Full coverage is almost as much as the truck payment.
And you know what? I believe that because I see it in myself. I want to get a new car. Car prices are so high, I put it off. But even if I went out and got a new car, the insurance payment it's like 2 car payments now. You're absolutely right.
Bidenomics.
That's right, Bidenomics. Yeah, it's called. But I'll tell you this though. I'll leave you with this. It's done by design because, see, the Democrats don't understand why working people like you and me vote Republican. So what they're trying to do is break us financially and make us impoverished so that we're dependent on the government. And they think if they can get us dependent on the government and break the middle class, that we'll become Democrat voters. That's really what their plan is.
Yep, free money isn't free, though.
That's right. Hey, listen, appreciate the call, and drive the speed limit. You'll save on gas, okay? All right, take care. We'll take our break for the bottom of the hour and be right back.
Making morning radio great again. I think you're going to really love it. It's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig. The greatest rock and roll hits of the 60s and 70s coming up this morning. From the all-year cooling weather center, serving South Florida 24/7 since 1973. Here's your oldies forecast.
Good morning, South Florida. First morning meteorologist Wesley in WPTF 25 News. It's going to be a warm day. Temperatures will climb into the upper 80s and
If you're on hold, hang in there.
the last couple of days, but we'll take it. Feels like temperatures near 98 degrees. Still a lot of sunshine and some inland thunderstorms will be developing out west.
Oh, you're going to set up Joe's mic?
Southbound 95, slow down past Lantana. The high full looks are really northbound, no major delays. Palm Beach Gardens, a crash, Donald Ross Road at Central Boulevard. A crash, West Palm Beach, Haverhill Road at Okeechobee Boulevard. This traffic update is sponsored by Florida Power and Light at FBL. They're working every day. To get ready, visit FBL.com/storm for storm guide and download the FBL mobile app for real-time updates.
Oh, a Buick from an old... Those cars are expensive now.
That's traffic. I'm Dory Dunn.
Traffic, a service of the Palm Beach Kennel Club. Come out to the poker room at PBKC with 65 tables of action. Open daily for cash games, daily high hands, mega bad beat jackpots, and exciting tournaments. Bet small and win big with table games like Ultimate Texas Hold'em or 3-card poker with just a $5 minimum all day, every day. PBKC, your entertainment destination. Go to pbkennelclub.com for more info.
You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Ryan. I just want to say thank you for Dr. Appleton because I'm still there. It took 3 hours to go down there to my 90-year-old mom. My mom walked straighter than she ever walked in her life. And I just want to say thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being such a really vessel to talk about Dr. Appleton.
That's amazing. So you heard me in Orlando talking about Dr. Appleton and drove to South Florida with your mother to see him.
Yes, my mom is awesome now. Awesome. No more arthritis, no more pills, none of that. She's going back to New York. She sits on the train for 24 hours. And I'm telling you, okay, she gets off that train, my disposition walks like a young woman.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
Call Dr. Appleton and say bye-bye to your pain too. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. Online, AppletonCairo.com. Brian Craig here with a question for seniors and those who care about them. How would you like to have instant access to a healthcare advocate at the touch of a button? Would that make life easier for you? You can with I Will Advocates. I Will Advocates will help you set up doctor's appointments, help with your pharmacy, even deal with your pharmacist to make sure that you have good prescriptions. They'll help you find a doctor, including a specialist. If you've been billed improperly by a doctor's office or a hospital, they can help you with that too. They'll even be your advocate when you're in the hospital to make sure you get the care you need and the care you deserve. And that's just the beginning of what they do. I Will Advocates takes care of all Steve Kane's healthcare issues too. And they can do
We'll be back shortly, guys.
I Will Advocate clients are family, and they do that for their family when you need them the most. Call Debbie and I Will Advocates right now. Toll free 1-877-275-2326. 1-877-275-2326. 1-877-275-2326.
Hey, grab your flip-flops and get ready for a summer in paradise on Margaritaville at Sea, where cruises to the Bahamas now start at just $75 a person for a limited time. It's the night away at our high-energy poolside parties, then settle in for island-inspired cuisine night after night with your favorite plus one. From fins up to sundown, a Bahamas getaway with Margaritaville at Sea is the perfect summer refresh. Book it today to lock in your savings on your next cruise together at Margaritaville at Sea.
anybody that has any kind of acid reflux, if you try the low acidic coffee of my coffee, it is absolutely the best. I wasn't able to drink coffee for years, and I tried it, and now I can drink the coffee with no problem whatsoever. It's absolutely delicious. The flavor is like a tastier flavor than regular coffee. I'm telling you, I don't get stomach aches. I don't get anything. I'm so happy with it, and I think that you ought to mention it. I think it's important, especially for older people.
Mike Lindell says that his coffee, the My Coffee, which is 50% off with our promo code Kane and check out KANE.
We'll be back shortly, guys.
It's the best tasting coffee you've ever had.
Absolutely true. I have tried over the years other coffees, and nothing comes near his, and that really is the truth.
50% off with our promo code Kane and check out KANE at mypillow.com.
Now, back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig, celebrating 47 years on...
All righty, we are back. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. Okay, did you see this just incredible smackdown by Alina Habba of Shannon Bream on Fox yesterday? Shannon Bream. You know, she took over that Sunday Fox show, and she's a hack. Listen to this exchange. It was really good. This is Alina Habba in front of the courthouse yesterday.
Listen, but the Biden administration's not responsible for this trial. How can you say the Biden administration's not?
Okay, so Shannon Bream just said that the Biden administration is not responsible for the New York trial. She said that to Alina Habba, live on Fox.
Listen, but the Biden administration's not responsible for this trial. How can you say the Biden administration's not responsible? It's a state. It's a state trial. It's Alvin Bragg. What do you think?
Oh my goodness. Shannon Bream is a very, very smart woman, and I used to trust her when she talked. But what's happened? They gave her the Fox News Sunday show, and that Fox News Sunday show is not just a cable show, okay? It's on the Fox News channel, but that show is also carried on Fox TV affiliates nationwide on Sundays, kind of like a Fox version of Meet the Press. So what happened? She's making the big money now. You know, like Brett Baer can buy a second house in Palm Beach for $35 million. She's making the big money now. So all of a sudden, she's state-controlled and saying stupid things like Biden has nothing to do with this New York trial. And she has the guts to say it to Alina Habba. Alina Habba wasn't having it.
Listen, but the Biden administration's not responsible for this trial. How can you say the Biden administration's not responsible? It's a state. It's a state trial. It's Alvin Bragg. What do you think? There's a political motive for him. It's not connected to the DOJ. I mean, Shannon, the feds passed on these election charges.
Shannon, you should look at how many logs they have of state officials, Letitia James, Fannie Willis, visiting the White House, and then tell me that this is not a Biden trial. I don't.
Feds pass on this case is the point I'm making.
Right. The feds passed on this case. Also, DA Cy Vance passed on this case, and
years ago, and then it came back.
And Brad passed on this case. You know when it came back? When he decided to run for office. Mm-hmm. So tell me how that's not an indication that Joe Biden, who just sent his campaign down here with Robert De Niro yesterday, isn't a part of this. Frankly, any question that we had of that was squashed yesterday. And if you have even more concerns about whether he's involved in this, look at the fact that he is publicizing, literally publicizing, for tonight to have a speech if a verdict comes out.
Wow, there you go. I mean, Shannon Bream, they got to her. They bought her. That's why people in the media are so overpaid, because that way they could be controlled. Now, this judge's instructions yesterday, I've never heard anything like this. I have been following high-profile trials all my life. I've always been interested in that. I love true crime. I follow trials other than OJ. I follow a lot of them. Some of them you've never even heard of. You know, and I find them fascinating. Fascinating. And in a criminal case, I've never heard, ever in a criminal case, what I heard from this judge yesterday. One, that they don't need a 12-person agreement on the guilty verdict. I've never heard of that. He said you could get in 3 groups of 4 and I'd be okay with that. And then he said they don't even have to agree on the crime, but he'll be guilty. Really? So, you take this into another felony. Let's say it's a murder. Someone's on trial for murder. Some people on the jury think they're guilty of murder. Some people think they're guilty of jaywalking. They both think he's guilty of different things. Does the guy get sent up the river on the murder charges? That's what this Judge Merchan said yesterday to this jury. In civil cases, in certain, I don't know if this is true in every state, but in most of the ones I've followed, in civil juries, you don't need a unanimous verdict in a civil case. The bar's much lower because you're not taking someone's freedom away. You just need a majority in a civil case, oftentimes, at least in cases I followed. But in criminal cases, it's a unanimous verdict or a hung jury. And what the judge did, see, this really shows you what they got their statisticians together and started doing, they knew what the options are. Guilty, not guilty, no verdict, which means a hung jury. And they brought in their statisticians and they told them what we've all been talking about for weeks, that most likely we're going to get a hung jury. So the judge came up with jury instructions that no lawyer that I've seen analyze this since yesterday has ever seen nor heard before. He came up with this thing where they don't need a majority verdict. They only need, 4? It's very confusing. It is confusing, and it's meant to be confusing. No one, the jury, no one knows what the jury rules are in this case. The judge is making them up as he goes along. That's why they're so confusing. But what they've done is they've gotten together with the odds makers, and they've realized that a hung jury was possible. So the judge came up with this bizarre jury instruction to try to do away with the idea of a hung jury. And I'll tell you, based on what the jurors asked for yesterday, it looks like a hung jury is where they were going. They asked for Cohen's testimony and the Inquirer guy's testimony. I'm not going to say his name like everybody else. They just like to say that name on TV. They got all excited. I can say it in that context, but I'm not. So obviously, there's some debate as to Trump's knowledge of the Stormy Daniels thing. And the Inquirer guy said Cohen did it all on his own. Trump didn't know anything about it. Right? So them asking for those two pieces of testimony, we really don't know what they want to know or what the debate is. But you can, take a guess. And to me, it seems like there's a debate over guilty and not guilty. So it looks leaning towards hung jury. But if they only need 4 people to send a guy to prison these days in New York, how are you going to get a hung jury? That means you got to get 7. It's got to be a 7-3 split. It only has to be one. There could be one holdout. One holdout in a regular trial, but not this one. Have any of you signed non-disclosure agreements? I have. I've signed a bunch of them. And they've all been stupid, and I've forgotten about most of them, what they were for. I mean, I remember signing them, but I don't even remember what they were for. There was, I had to give some testimony. There was a guy, I can't even, I signed an NDA. I can't talk about, other than there was a guy suing his former employer. It was not a radio station, I can tell you that. And I didn't work for the employer or anything. But a guy was suing his former employer, and his attorneys brought me in for a deposition. That's all I can tell you. I signed an NDA. So what? So what? Why don't they want me to? Why did they have me sign an NDA? Do you know why they had me sign an NDA? Because I have an audience on all kinds of platforms, and I could go talk about it. They don't want me to talk about it. Could influence the case. There was this was a weird one. Okay, I had a meeting with someone that was interested in advertising on the program, and they asked me to sign an NDA because they thought that they had come up with some. I can't even tell you what it was, but they thought they had come up with something that nobody ever had come up with before, and they didn't want it out there. And they had me sign an NDA. Well, they didn't have me. They asked me. I said, sure, who cares? I'll sign it. And what were they doing? They didn't want me to be able to go public and tell people about what they thought was a $1 quadrillion thing thing. I can't even tell you any more than that. I signed an NDA. Were they trying to influence? Yes. They were trying to hide, and they didn't want me to be able to tell people, like you listening to me, about their thing. And you know what? I forgot what it was. I signed the NDA. I don't even remember what it was. It's kind of funny. I thought it was so bizarre. Okay? People have people sign NDAs all the time. It's normal. And you sign them, and you don't know what they are. I had to, okay. I had to, okay. I told you guys that I went to those Star Trek sets over the weekend. I forgot about this till just now. Do you know I had to sign a document before I went in? I can't tell you what it was about, but I signed the document. I can tell you I signed it, and it involves that, but I can't tell you why. I said, okay, I'll sign it. And why did they have me sign it? Because I'm in media, and they don't want me sharing certain things, maybe. That's all I can tell you. Right? I signed it. By the way, I wasn't the only one. Everybody I was with had to sign it. Okay? People sign stuff. We sign NDAs and confidentiality agreements all the time. Okay? And I've signed a whole bunch of them. I forgot about the one, and that was Saturday. It's so common to sign these things that you just sign them. You don't even think about it. Right? It's not a crime. And I bet you guys have signed things too. All right, listen, we'll take our last break of the second hour and be right back.
The cold, hard truth. Delivered morning 6 to 9 right here on The Steve Kane Show.
All right, and on the line from the Siegel Law Group, we have Attorney Barry Siegel. Attorney Barry Siegel, good morning.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. What do you have for us this morning?
This morning I wanted to talk about something that we all really need to make sure that we pay attention to, because we're all going to hopefully get there someday, and that means to those retirement years where we get some of those gray hairs, and we need to plan for the future. Now, some of us may have more money than we'll ever need in our lifetime, and our children and grandchildren will ever need in our lifetime. So for those folks, those are the ones who can maybe turn this down or not pay attention for a moment. But for everyone else, even if you're very, very comfortable and doing well, you could end up spending down your assets and going broke if you or your spouse become ill. And when I say become ill, I just mean if you need help, if you need care, if you need help with what are called activities of daily living. Activities of daily living are things like just walking, bathing yourself, toileting, dressing, feeding yourself, all of these things that we take for granted every day. If you need help with those things, then you either need to have somebody come to your home to help you, a home health aide, a private duty aide, or get help outside of the home, for example, in an assisted living facility, or worst case scenario, a nursing home. And all of those options are not just expensive, they're extremely expensive. And they could end up causing you to spend down those assets and potentially go broke, or at the very least, dramatically decrease your life style that you have. And we don't want to do that. We don't want to leave our spouse that way. And so that's why it's important to look at the long-term care options that are out there. And of course, there's long-term care insurance. And if you have it, that's great. Most people don't have it or don't have enough of it. So that really leaves just the option of spending down your assets or talking to an elder law attorney like us at the Siegel Law Group who can help you plan so that you could get government benefits to offset those costs. And that's what we do at the Siegel Law Group.
Yeah, and when it comes to that type of personalized care, you don't want to rely on your spouse, your kids, or your grandkids. It causes all kinds of problems and embarrassments and things, and that can all be avoided, and you have professional care. And, I think, Barry, one mistake a lot of people make, and this is what the Siegel Law Group will let you know, a lot of people assume that they have too much money, that their net worth is too high, or they don't qualify for this stuff. People should not assume that. They should meet with you guys at the Siegel Law Group and let you all, the experts, determine that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That could be one of the biggest mistakes anyone makes in their life, one of the biggest financial mistakes. I mean, we all take care to make sure that we, we're within our budget and that we're investing properly, we're not taking too much risk, we're doing all the right things, buying insurance. But then if we make this mistake and we don't take a look at this and plan ahead, I mean, there are examples, and there's not enough time on this call, but, we discuss this at the seminar, or if somebody comes in for their free consultation, we can discuss this. Or if we, I know I'm coming in to interview in the studio sometime soon, and maybe we could discuss this more.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's certain things that if you don't have certain language in some documents, that could be the difference between protecting everything and losing everything.
That's correct. That's correct, and I agree. That could be the biggest financial disaster of your life. All right, it's always a no-charge consultation with the Siegel Law Group. When you call and mention, you heard Attorney Barry Siegel on the program. All right, now you can find them online at SiegelLawGroup.com. SiegelLawGroup.com, and remember, the Siegel Law Group can help you no matter where you are located in the state of Florida. You can call toll-free 855-FLA. 3782. 855-FLA 3782. All right, Attorney Barry Siegel, we will finish out the week already tomorrow.
All right, we'll do it.
All right, take care. All right, we'll be right back.
Now the Steve Kane Show is on the air.
All righty, we are back. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. We've covered a lot. After the top of the hour, I'll recap a couple of the bigger stories, but there's a few things I want to get through in the last few minutes of the second hour. By the way, our number's toll-free, 1-888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. I have a sneeze coming on, so I apologize for that. I've got these rescue kittens, Pepsi and Coca-Cola, and I'm allergic to cats, and I got 3 cats in the house, so I'm sorry. So and I play with the kittens before I come to the radio station in the morning. I'm going to have to start taking allergy medications because it's affecting me. All right. So Joy Reid, she's still sporting the Trump wig. It's really amazing to me. She despises the man, but she wears this Trump wig. And here she is. She's talking about this New York case and everything yesterday.
In 2 new letters to members of Congress, he rejected...
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I got my sound bites mixed up. This one, I'll get to the other one on the court case later. This one, they're talking about Justice Alito. Justice Alito. Now, they're desperate to try to get a Republican off the court because we've got a real court now. And it's not just... They're not conservatively biased. They do have a bias towards supporting the letter of the great Constitution of the United States given to us by our wonderful founding fathers. Okay? And they don't like Supreme Court justices on the left. They don't like Supreme Court justices that support and make rulings based on the Constitution as opposed to their feelings. They like liberal justices that legislate from the bench. So they spent about a year and a half trying to get rid of Clarence Thomas. He's corrupt. He takes bribes. That fizzled. Now they're after Alito. His wife had this flag up, FLAG, that I've never heard of before. It's something that honors the Revolutionary War. I've never heard of this flag before. Have you? No. And because they have this Revolutionary War flag up, he can't be on the court and rule under certain cases. Are you kidding me? The flag represents our anything that's representative of the Great American Revolution is the kind of flag you want Supreme Court justices to fly. Found out, by the way, that judge that they say that flag they say should disqualify Alito from being on the court. The city of San Francisco had that same flag flying. They just removed it this week because of the Alito thing. They don't want to be, but they got caught. I've never even heard of this flag. Have you guys heard of this revolutionary flag? I haven't. I mean, I know "Don't Tread on Me," but this is something very obscure. All right, so anyway, so this is the clip of Joy Reid talking about Alito, who said, "Kiss off. I'm staying on the court. I'm going to be on all these cases. I'm here for life. Deal with it." And they're pretty ticked that he stood up to them.
And today, in 2 new letters to members of Congress, he rejected calls to recuse himself on both January 6th cases while blaming mean old Martha Ann. In typically defiant and indignant tones, he writes, "My wife is a private citizen, and she possesses the same First Amendment rights as every other American. She makes her own decisions, and I have always respected her right to do so."
That's correct. So I love these liberal women like Joy Reid. She thinks that Alito should have his wife barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen and not voice her opinion. That being a strong, independent woman voicing your opinion, that shouldn't be allowed. She wants to take women back to, like the 50s here, Joy Reid.
I am confident that a reasonable person who is not motivated by political or ideological considerations or a desire to affect the outcome of Supreme Court cases would conclude that the facts recounted above do not meet the applicable standard for recusal. As for the Appeal to Heaven flag outside their New Jersey home, that flag, repurposed as a symbol of support for Donald Trump, was flown during the January 6th insurrection. That flag, Alito, shoves Martha Ann under the bus again, saying the vacation house is in her name, and adding, "My wife is fond of flying flags. I am not."
Yeah, exactly. Remember that show, Wife Swap? That was a great show. I used to love that show. And they did one episode where they tried to do a spinoff called Husband Swap, and it didn't make it past one episode. Because in any household, the reason that Wife Swap was such a good show is that women set the tone in a house, and women run the house, regardless of what any men tell you, okay? And when I go home, my wife's got all kinds of things going on. I don't know anything about anything, okay? I don't know why this is there, why that's there, why this is hanging, why my stuff is over here. All I know is I come home and that's it, right? And that's how it is with most guys. Now, all of a sudden, you are responsible not just for yourself, but for everything your spouse does. All right, let's get back to this.
Joining me now with thoughts is Melissa Murray,
oh yes,
law professor and MSNBC legal analyst.
Now Melissa Murray here, if you saw this video, she looks and dresses like Elvis Costello in the 80s, all right?
Thoughts, my friend?
Okay, there's a lot here. Let me go through it. First of all, this letter is nominally addressed to Congress. It is a giant double-fingered FU to...
Yes.
It's not simply saying he's not fond of flying flags, but his wife is. He's basically trolling Americans who know that he is the author of Dobbs versus Jackson Women's Health Organization.
Blah, blah, blah. Okay. I don't know why this woman's so concerned about pregnant women and pregnancies, because I've always heard from liberal women that men should not voice an opinion on abortion, and that is because we can't get pregnant. Elvis Costello here, she ain't getting pregnant either, okay? She's not having that kind of activity, unless she got really drunk and something accidental happened. But the thing about all of this, I'm not going to play any more of it, okay? Every single Supreme Court justice from the beginning of the Supreme Court until today, and this isn't just the Republican ones, it's the Democrat ones, okay? They and their spouses are always politically connected. How do you get a presidential appointment unless you're politically hooked up? Right? They don't even know, these presidents and their people don't even know who you are. And oftentimes, most oftentimes, because Supreme Court justices are politically active, so are their spouses. That's why Clarence Thomas's wife is so politically active. These are people that are politically active enough, as well as becoming attorneys, to get those federal presidential judge appointments. That's just the way it is. Every single one of the married justices, I don't know if these liberal ladies are married or not. If they are, God help their husbands, okay? But every spouse of every federal judge, especially the ones in Washington, are pretty much politically connected, because that's how you get those gigs. And, I mean, look at this federal judge in the January 6th case with President Trump. You think it's just a coincidence that this Obama-appointed judge was Hunter Biden's boss at the law firm he worked at? Out of all the federal judges, just happens to get a case that Hunter Biden's old boss at the law firm is presiding over as the judge? Of course not. It's not a coincidence. But I don't hear them griping about a conflict of interest in that case. But they're trying to make a vacancy on the Supreme Court because they have lost some big things. They lost affirmative action. They lost Roe v. Wade, and they're going to lose more. And these are big things. And they're losing it because we don't have an activist Supreme Court. we have a Supreme Court that obeys the law, the Constitution of the United States. There's that old phrase of legislating from the bench. That's what liberals do. They legislate from the bench, and there ain't none of that going on the Supreme Court with this Trump Supreme Court. And Elvis Costello here is right that Alito's letter was giving the FU, but not to the American people. It was giving an FU to the liberal Washington class. Okay? And they think that they're going to slander this guy, and they're going to tar and feather Alito, and they're going to run him out of Dodge, and then they'll have a vacancy, and then Obama, might as well be Obama, and then Biden, the Biden administration can get another appointment. That's just not going to happen. All right? And if you go and look at the spouses of all the Supreme Court justices for the past 40, 50 years, you're going to find in almost every instance they're somehow connected. Doesn't Justice Roberts' wife work for the media? I forgot what her job is in the media. Kavanaugh was on Ken Starr's team investigating Bill Clinton? Come on. You think it's just a coincidence? Of course not. Kavanaugh had political connections. He got the appointment. And I bet you his wife does too. So you're not going to go and intimidate people. Robert De Niro was trying to influence the jury. Joe Biden went to influence a witness in his son's federal gun case when he went and had the secret meeting with his very twisted daughter-in-law that was involved in a sexual relationship with both of his sons. Sicko there. And now they're trying to intimidate members of the Supreme Court of the United States. And Alito said, kiss off. All right, we're going to take our break for the top of the hour. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. 1 hour to go. We'll be back right after this.
WSFS 104.3 HD3.
Oh, hey, what's up? What's going on? How you doing? Oh my gosh. I didn't know that whole thing lifted up like that.
You do now. So one thing for sure.
No, you're not supposed to do that probably.
Just unlock the new feature. How you doing today?
Good, how you doing?
Great, man. One day at a time.
Yeah, that's right.
Jenny's wedding is this Saturday, so
oh,
it's gonna be nuts. I got all
yeah.
Coming in. So
Oh my god, yeah, that gets nuts.
Copy. Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2. How's the level sound? No, it's not up.
I see. Is that well? Everything's an audition, so.
Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2. This one. Yeah. Cool.
Which one?
Cool. Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2.
Which? It's this one here.
Yeah.
All right.
I just want to make sure which one goes next. Where they got it. Good. Yeah, I remember. Just the one you just named. Yeah, I don't just stop with some of these all day because we moved it. That makes sense. So interesting. I think we did a show about NFL players, about NBA players, people who win the lottery.
Yeah.
So within 3 years, they're all broke and filing bankruptcy.
Yeah.
But we talked about that and how annuities structure your income so you have it for the rest of your life. And you don't outlive your money. You don't go bankrupt.
I'll go right into that.
Sounds good. Sounds good, man. So we go off on it pretty quickly. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, got 1 more minute. Okay. Oh.
So you think he's gonna get acquitted?
Probably. Who knows? You can never tell with these juries. You never know.
2 lawyers on it or 3 lawyers?
2.
Would you want a lawyer on your jury?
No.
Come on.
No. Unless he was a friend of mine. No. Never. I've never heard of such a thing. That's an immediate.
Yeah, you're dismissed. Yeah.
The more educated you are, the less likely you are to get on the jury.
Very true. Very true. Yeah. I had a guy yesterday called me. You would have loved him on the show, man. He's totally buying you.
Oh my gosh.
And he was going on. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, well, money's still green.
Yeah, exactly.
It's all the same money. No, right after this.
radio station, so don't use the rest. Only go to Any Lab Test Now of Boca and Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs. Any Lab Test Now of Boca is in the Sandalfoot Plaza. That's where the Western Beef is, between Palmetto Park Road and Hillsborough Boulevard on the east side of State Road 7, 441. Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs is on the southeast corner of University and Ramblewood by the Coral Square Mall. Call Any Lab Test Now of Boca at 561-237-5009. Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs number is 954-906-5983. And don't forget to mention that you heard about them on the radio.
On the air since 1977, it's the Steve.
All right, hour number 3 has begun, and in studio we have Joe Thomas. Hey, Joe, how you doing? Good. You know, you were talking to me during the break, you know, about people that come into these windfalls of money and how they go broke. And it's funny, I just had a similar conversation with Attorney Barry Siegel about this. I went to school with a guy, and sadly his parents passed away. They left him with $6-7 million, and I didn't see him for many years, and I ran into him working at the Home Depot.
Oh, my God.
He blew through all the money. He's working at Home Depot for, you know, not that Home Depot is not a great job, but he blew through the $6-7 million, and you run into this.
Yeah, I've had clients who have won the lottery. Within 3 years, they're broke, and the reason being is they buy all their kids a house. This particular lady, she won $5.3 million up in New Jersey. She bought each kid a house, gave them each $250,000, and then never paid taxes on the lottery. And this is what happens.
Oh, my goodness.
And we did a show last week about NBA players and NFL players, how within 3 years the average player is gone because they're filing bankruptcy.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, you come into something like, not everyone's going to win the lottery, but we had a listener, came to an appearance, he won the Publishers Clearinghouse. And I didn't believe him, so he came to our next appearance. He brought the envelope, you know, with Ed McMahon on it. Remember those things?
Yeah.
You know, and, you know, people come into windfall money. It may be an inheritance. It may be a new job, but people blow it.
Well, here's the deal. Every day people do this with their 401k, and they don't know it. Oh, it's time to retire. They have their 401k, and they have it all in the market. Now, look, sometimes you do well in the market, sometimes you don't. But you don't want to retire at the wrong time and have the market going down. Then your money will not last the rest of your life.
I've known several people, they've retired, they sell their house, and they buy an RV, and they drive around America, and then a year later, they're broke.
Yeah, there's no planning. There's no plan of action. They don't realize this money has to last you the rest of your life. When we look at people, we're telling them, look at 20, 25 years out that this money's going to last you. If you can't fathom that, you're going to lose your money quickly.
Yeah, and you know, the thing with an annuity, you know, you've got the best thing because annuity just sells themselves. I mean, I know you hear me say some of the things about annuities all the time, and they do sell themselves. With an annuity, like I was telling my good friend I went to visit over the weekend, he sold his house in Pembroke Pines, he moved to North Florida, and that money, he put it in an annuity.
There you go. And now he's got security, safety. And his money will last the rest of his life if he chooses that.
Yeah, he took me out and bought me dinner. He's got nothing to worry about because he's got the money coming in.
There you go.
And you know the thing about people, you know, if you want to be successful, you got to look at people that are successful, and the extreme wealthy people, they do many things that we regular folk don't. But one thing they do is they don't risk their principal.
Exactly. If you can live off it's called an interest-only option.
Mm-hmm.
You only live off the interest, and you leave your principal there. So if you're earning 5% a year on $1 million, you're getting $50,000 a year coming in, guaranteed.
Yeah. So a lot of people that are my age, they get to this point. The kids are out of college. They're getting married, right? Like in your situation, you know.
Jenny's getting married.
I got one of those coming up too, and I've been, you know, I think all fathers, we dread our daughters getting married, not, you know, because we know how much the weddings cost. I mean, it's.
Exactly.
You know, but I've been dreading it for years. But, you know, when a lot of people that are in their 40s, in their 50s, and they're empty nesters, they sell their house and they move into a community, but they got a lot of money left over that they could put into an annuity and supplement their income.
Exactly. And that, you know, that's what it is. It's taking this extra money and putting it to work for you and making sure it lasts the rest of your life. When I talk lifetime income, it's hard for people to fathom that sometimes because they're saying, well, I'm in my 60s. I only want to make it to 80. Well, what happens if you make it to 85 or 90? What if you make it to 100? You know, longevity is happening with people because the advent of medicine, right? People are living longer. So we call it longevity insurance, these annuities with an income rider. It guarantees you income for the rest of your life.
Yeah, and also about that, I know people say, well, the life expectancy is 73 or something.
Yeah.
That's true from birth. The older you are, the longer the life expectancy. So if you're 60 or 65, your life expectancy is like 85 or 90.
Exactly, and if you make it to 80, you're going to make it to 95.
Exactly.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and there's a saying that Steve and I we've used for many years with many different people. You don't want to run out of money before you run out of life.
Exactly.
Right? And that happens to a lot of people. Well, listen, Joe Thomas, he's offering 2 things for free, all right? And they're both very good. One, of course, is free copies of his book, The Retirement Know-It-All. And he's also offering free phone consultations. And I like to tout your resume a little bit. I know you get embarrassed when I do this, but I want people to know what they're getting at no charge when you get a free phone consultation with Joe Thomas. Joe Thomas has for over 30 years been in the retirement planning business, okay? And he's a 5-time qualifying member of the $1 Million Roundtable, which is achieved by less than 1% of all financial advisors in the world. So this free phone consultation is with a top guy. Give Joe a call. His number, 561-743-0999. 561-743-0999. And if you missed the number, just go to his website, JupiterJoe.com. JupiterJoe.com. All right, Joe, we'll see you soon. Take care.
Thank you, Brian.
All right, and we are back. And joining us, Steve Kane. Hey, Steve. Oh, boy. What an exciting time we're in right now. This is one of the most exciting times we have ever been in, and I'm not scared. What scares you? I'm not scared. Does Trump look scared? You're thinking about that? He looks pissed off, but does he look scared? Are you? Yesterday afternoon. Okay, Trump was sequestered. Can you imagine? This guy's, he is the leader of the political opposition. He is a president. He was sequestered in a room in that courthouse all day yesterday while the jury was out deliberating. And Don Jr., I just got to tell you about it because it doesn't play in audio. There's some audio, but it doesn't play very well. You got to see it. But Don Jr. made a little video on his iPhone, and it was him sitting in that room that he was sequestered in. It looked like a prison cell, quite honestly, and they were having lunch. And Donald Trump sitting back with Don Jr., he didn't have a worry in the world. All he was doing was preparing his next post on True Social. He didn't have a worry in the world. And I often tell people, and that was just in a little private thing with his son having lunch. If Trump's not worried, you shouldn't be worried. Unless you like to worry. Yeah, well, he's the one that's facing prison, not you. Right? So if he's not worried, what are you worried about? Yeah, exactly. So I was watching CNN yesterday because they're in meltdown mode, and Fake Tapper, Trump gave that name to Jake Tapper, Fake Tapper. I like that. That's a good one, Fake Tapper. And that's going to stick with him for the rest of his life. That is a perfect nickname. But anyway, this is Fake Tapper and his panel, and this is when the closings were going on yesterday. Wow, that's CNN. So you got Fake Tapper and his legal analyst both saying that the prosecution didn't prove their case. I mean, my goodness, it doesn't get better than that. I mean, these people have done nothing but fantasize of Trump being on trial and going to prison for years. And now the criminal case is coming, and they said that they didn't prove the case. The biggest Trump haters out there. So I don't know what you're worried about. All right, listen, our number is toll-free, 1-888-465. Yeah, you're the only one that's worried. Nobody else is worried. You're the only one. 1-888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Oh, Bill Clinton's town. Good. Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah. Bill Clinton's been gone from Hope for a long time. Yeah. So what'd you call us about today? You called us. What's on your mind? Okay. Apology accepted. Do you have something new? Steve, he's calling for. They listen. Arkansas is the South, and they take their time. You got to be. You're from New York. He's from Arkansas, so different pace. All right. So what do you got? What do you got for us today, Hope, Arkansas? Who does? Oh, in Arkansas, Sarah Huckabee? He's better than our governor. Yeah, she's better than our governor. No. Yeah. Steve, you don't have to. I got it under control. Don't worry. I got everything under control. I do. Listen, we'll take our break. Steve was done. I did not hang up on you, caller. That was Steve. Our number, 1-888-465-2631. We'll take our first break of the third hour and be back.
President Trump is right. The MyPillow is so good, even President Trump sleeps on one. Support Mike Lindell, President Trump, and the Steve Kane Show at the same time. Go to MyPillow.com and use the promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, at checkout for huge savings on MyPillow products. Promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, at MyPillow.com.
Hey, my true oldies listeners, John Tesh here with some intelligence for your retirement this time. When you're looking for a retirement advisor, you don't trust and experience are two big qualities to look for. And as it turns out, my friend Jupiter Joe Thomas possesses both of these. Whether you're in retirement or looking to retire, I want you to give local expert Joe Thomas a call. Here's the number, 561-743-0999. Or, even simpler, you can go to JupiterJoe.com. Mention my name, John Tesh. You'll receive a free copy of Joe's book, Retirement Know-It-All. Great book. Call 561-743-0999. Or remember, go to JupiterJoe.com. That's JupiterJoe.com.
Have you put off buying new tires because you thought they were too expensive? Find friendly prices at Friendly Tire and Market. It's new and used tires. New tires as low as $70 a tire. That's out the door and on the road because Friendly Tire doesn't charge you to balance the tire or mount the tire. They have thousands of used tires in stock too, starting at just $30. Call for a quote right over the phone. 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445.
Now back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig. Listen to the on 95.9 FM. The Treasure Coast on 106.9 FM. Garrison Boca on 95.3 FM. Fort Lauderdale on 96.9 FM. And anywhere in the world at TrueOldiesFLA.com.
All right, welcome back. Oh, okay, I figured out what the problem was. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. You're listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. Okay, now I wanted to play something for you. You back with us, Steve? Okay, this is insane, okay? CNN, they went out and found an ex-Trump voter who they interviewed who says, they say he has made a case against President Trump's reelection. Now, let me tell you, I'm going to play some of this. I call total BS on this. How do you know this guy ever voted for Trump? Because he says so? You know, it is a natural progression of the maturity of a human to go from being a liberal to a conservative. And the reason that is because when you are young, you don't understand what's going on in the world. You're a kid, right? You're a kid. So you don't have an understanding of how things work and what the world's about. And as you become an adult and mature, you become a conservative because it's life, you know, bills, taxes, all that stuff. Going the other way from liberal to conservative never happens for real. It never happens for real. There was one guy that I know who claimed to do it. Remember Ed Schultz? Ed Schultz was a liberal radio talk show host, and he was a host on MSNBC. He's passed away. But he was a liberal on MSNBC and on his radio show, Ed Schultz. And he said that he used to be a Reagan conservative, but then he had this story, which he totally made up. It was taken right out of Howard Stern's Private Parts movie. He was at a homeless shelter, saw some homeless people, and woke up and became a liberal. You cannot go from being a conservative to a liberal. It's just not possible. So anyway, they interview this guy. Let me play this on CNN. This was yesterday. John King.
First big political statement came 40 years ago.
I became a Republican when I turned 18 because of Ronald Reagan. Both my parents were staunch Democrats, and you know, at the time they're like, we're Democrats, we're not Republicans. And I was like, no, this, you know, I'm a Reagan Republican.
The Philadelphia suburbs were reliably red back then. Pacey, a reluctant piece of why they are much more blue now.
So in 2016, you voted for
Trump.
And in 2020,
Biden.
And you got an election in a few months. What are you going to do?
If I had my choice, I wouldn't vote for either. But I will vote for Biden. I will vote for anyone but Trump.
Why?
Well, so he tried to overthrow our government.
Okay, it's a problem. He tried to overthrow the government. Now, first off, he said he voted for Trump in 2016 and then voted for Biden in 2020. Okay? Now, he says he's not going to vote for Trump because Trump tried to overthrow the government. Well, he didn't try to overthrow it even by his own thing, right? When he voted for Biden in 2020, right? So why did he vote for Biden then? And if you listen to him, listen to how he says it when he asks him.
30 years ago.
I became a Republican when I turned 18 because of Ronald Reagan. Both my parents were staunch Democrats, and you know, at the time they're like, we're Democrats, we're not Republicans. And I was like, no, this, you know, I'm a Reagan Republican.
The Philadelphia suburbs were reliably red back then. Pacey, a reluctant piece of why they are much more blue now.
So in 2016, you voted for
Trump.
And in 2020,
Biden. Okay, so in 2020, he voted for Biden. There was none of this insurrection stuff before then. So what turned him around then? John King, of course, doesn't ask him. This is the beginning of something. This is what I was telling you they used to do on Air America Radio. Remember Rush Limbaugh? Rush used to always say that the Democrats have that same old playbook. It's worn out, and they do the same plays every time. Every presidential election year, when a Republican is projected to perform well and win, they trot out all these liars who have been Republicans all their lives, and now they're going to vote Democrat for the first time in their life. Right? Now, this guy did it in 2020, but he voted for Trump in 2016. They trot out these guys. I've had enough. Now I'm voting. You know, this makes absolutely no sense. For him to say that he's a lifelong conservative, right? Since Reagan, lifelong conservative, but he can't handle Trump. Now all of a sudden he's voting for, even though he's been a lifelong conservative, Joe Biden has promised to raise all of our taxes, everyone's taxes. So all of a sudden, this low-tax Reaganite, this is just like Ed Schultz rising from the dead here. This is how he used to talk. All of a sudden, this guy that supported low taxes and small government his whole life is supporting, by voting for Biden, high taxes, tax increases, and big government. This guy who's been pro-life his whole life is all of a sudden abortion on demand. Now this guy, all of a sudden, who's been strong on our borders, all of a sudden, he's for open borders? None of that is even logical. And, of course, all they do on CNN is sit around and yuck it up with the guy.
And you got an election in a few months. What are you going to do?
If I had my choice, I wouldn't vote for either. But I will vote for Biden. I will vote for anyone but Trump.
Why?
Well, so he tried to overthrow our government. And that's a problem with me.
But you voted for Biden in 2020 before that allegedly happened. So why'd you vote for Biden in 2020?
In the U.S. military, I just have very strong feelings about what it means to be an American.
So another big statement this election year. A primary vote for Nikki Haley 6 weeks after Donald Trump locked up the nomination.
I want other Republicans out there saying, like, we don't have to choose this guy. They don't want to hear that, okay, he could be a convicted criminal in a couple of days. They don't want to hear that, hey, he did all these things.
Okay, so now the second part is why I played. Now, first of all, do you believe any of that guy's story? I call complete BS on his entire story, okay? He might have been some out-of-the-closet Republican when he was younger to rebel against his parents, but you don't go from being a Reagan conservative to supporting this radical Marxist Democrat Party we have today. That does not even pass what you call, Steve, that smile test. There's just no way. Here you got this low tax Reagan conservative. Biden's talking about the capital gains again, right? I mean, come on. It doesn't even make sense at all. Total BS. And the media are going to be filled with people like this from now until November. Now, then what he says at the end that he's trying to tell his Republican, this guy, he can't even say the man's name, right? He's like Voldemort in Harry Potter. The presidential candidate's name who shall not be mentioned. He can't even say the guy's name. Is he afraid that if he says it 3 times, Candyman's coming? I mean, this guy, what a jerk. So he says that he wants other Republicans to know that they should have a problem. He's going to be a convicted felon in a couple days. All of a sudden, liberals our entire lives have been talking about how unfair the justice system is and how these fake, they keep talking about the Central Park Five. Biden was talking about the Central Park Five. They tell you that politics all of a sudden convict innocent people, but they don't see it here. You got this Justice Department guy, Caligula, who left the Justice Department to go work for Bragg. He was the number 3 guy at the Justice Department. That's a top thing. That's a top post. When the new administration comes in, when you're the number 3 guy at the Justice Department, you end up working for one of those big law firms where you don't even have to work or go to court ever again or go to a deposition. They just want you on the letterhead because you were the number 3 guy. He left to go work under Bragg in New York. Give me a break. If they come back with a conviction, no one will believe it. And these weird jury instructions yesterday that the judge gave, where they only need 4 people to convict, I don't understand. Nobody understands. Very strange. They know that if they get a conviction, that it will be overturned. It will be overturned. They know this, but they don't care because even when it's overturned, they'll still continue to say he was a convicted felon. Okay? He was convicted in New York. Oh yeah, it was overturned, but he was still a convicted felon. And that's their entire campaign message. In the Obama-Biden re-election, when they were in 2012, their campaign slogan was GM's alive and Bin Laden's dead, or was it Bin Laden dead and GM alive? It was one of the, I can't remember which order. They've got a campaign slogan all ready to go that involves Trump being a convicted felon. Okay, and all they want is that if the jury comes back at 10 o'clock this morning with a conviction, and at noon the appellate court reverses the decision, they'll still call him a convicted felon. Their entire campaign is based around this, and that's all they care about. That's why they interviewed this fake Republican that on CNN I just played for you. You hear? Convicted felon. That seminar caller we got the other day. Convicted felon. He can run the country from, remember that? That's their whole, for some reason, they think that the American people will accept this idea that Trump's a criminal if they get this felony conviction against him. Okay? Which is a fake conviction, a fake courtroom, a fake corrupt judge. And if this jury comes back with a conviction, it's a fake corrupt jury too. okay? And I'm very suspicious of why they got 2 attorneys on the jury. Every legal mind on every network, even the liberal ones, have never heard of such a thing. Haven't heard of 1 lawyer, not to mention 2 lawyers. By the way, do you know where the jury foreman lives, Steve? Harlem. Isn't that nice? The jury foreman's from Harlem. I know, but the last time I checked, Harlem loves Trump. Remember when he went to Harlem, he went to that bodega? They were cheering him on. All right, listen, we're going to take our break for the bottom of the hour. I'm Brian, Steve's here. Our number, 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. We'll take our break and be right back.
Making morning radio great again. I think you're gonna really love it. It's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
Okay.
The greatest rock and roll hits of the 60s and 70s coming up this morning. From the all-year cooling weather center, serving South Florida 24/7 since 1973. Here's your oldies forecast.
Good morning, South Florida. I'm reporting meteorologist Vanessa has a WPCL 25 news. A warm day and temperatures will climb into the upper 80s and the lower 90s. Much cooler compared to the last couple of days, but we'll take it. It feels like temperatures near 96 degrees. A lot of sunshine. Some cooler, so this month will be developing out west.
And now, a true oldies traffic check. Brought to you by the Palm Beach Kennel Club. Traffic, a service of the Palm Beach Kennel Club. Come out to the Boca Room at PBKC with 65 tables of action. Open daily for cash games, daily high hands, mega bad beat jackpots, and exciting tournaments. And small and win big with table games like Ultimate Texas Hold'em or 3-card poker with just a $5 minimum all day, every day. PBKC, your entertainment destination. Go to pbkennelclub.com for more info.
Grab your flip-flops and get ready for a summer in paradise on Margaritaville at Sea, where cruises to the Bahamas now start at just $75 a person for a limited time. It's the night away at our high-energy poolside party. Then settle in for island-inspired cuisine night after night with your favorite plus one. From fins up to sundown, a Bahamas getaway with Margaritaville at Sea is the perfect summer refresh. Book it today to lock in your savings on your next cruise together at margaritavilleatsea.com.
Consultation with Dr. Matez when you tell him you heard about him on the radio. 561-320-8893. 561-320-8893.
Hi, this is Gabriel with Florida Cash Home Buyers, and I buy houses cash. If you own
A Fugazi Republican. I like that one.
sell it fast for a great price, call me at 561-570-7070. I can pay cash and close in as little as 3 days or on your time frame. I can even pay you a cash advance before the closing. I'm a local cash buyer, and I'm looking to purchase more houses. I buy all types of properties, in any condition, any price range, in any situation. I buy inherited houses, divorce houses, behind in payment houses. I will even buy foreclosures and haunted houses. Woo! Do you own a vacant house or one that is trashed and needs thousands in repairs? Great! I love buying fixer-uppers. Regardless of your situation, I understand that life happens, and I'm here to help you. If you own a home and want to sell it fast and easy, I'll buy it. Call me at 561-570-7070. That's 561-570-7070. 561-570-7070.
Brian Craig here. If you're a homeowner, business owner, or with a homeowners association and your roof is old or compromised, you need to call Tom Laporta at Laporta Contracting. With a AAA credit rating and bonded up to $10 million, Laporta Contracting doesn't need a large deposit like those other contractors do. Typical deposits other contractors want are 1/3 of the contract. If your job is $30,000, that's a $10,000 deposit. If your job is $300,000, that's $100,000.
Hunter was not honey trapped.
What are they doing with your money? Typically, it takes
I know he'd like people to think that.
and HOAs much longer. If they need money for the materials, they don't have credit with the suppliers, and that spells bad news for the homeowner or HOA. Tom Laporta is honest, knowledgeable, and reliable, and he'll never sell you a roof you don't need. Laporta Contracting has been in the roofing and contracting business since 1988, and his services cover the east and west coast of Florida and everywhere in between. Tom Laporta can handle any type of roofing job too: residential roofing and repair, commercial roofs, schools, municipal buildings, office buildings, emergency repairs. If it's roofing, Tom Laporta can do it. Call Tom Laporta right now on his cell phone, 954-604-4602. 954-604-4602. And online, LaportaContracting.com.
Now, back to the Steve Kane Show with 7 years on the...
All right, we're back. I'm Brian and Steve here. Our number 1-888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, good morning. It's Jim from New York. How you doing?
Hey, Jim.
How are you? Morning, Steve. How you doing? Good. Good. I'm glad to hear it. So, it's funny. Yesterday I was in the car, and I would never normally listen to a Biden thing, but I saw the thing pop up with the Philadelphia rally, not even a rally, get together. And it's funny because two things I noticed just from hearing audio. First thing was, you can hear that there wasn't a whole lot of people in it.
39 showed up to see Biden. 39.
Big, huge Biden rally. And the second thing is when Kamala was talking and then Biden was talking, you noticed that they had to alter their manner of speaking to kind of sound more black, which to me is just ridiculous, sad, and racist. I mean, it's disgusting.
Yeah, all the Democrats do that. I mean, Hillary used to do that. All of a sudden, they start talking all Southern. But Kamala, Obama's as white as I am. Okay, Kamala is in. I saw Kamala with a video that she didn't realize was being taken. Her and her husband went to some mansion where there was a hip hop party in L.A., out in California, and she was getting down to the hip hop, and she's all into that. So she really, when she's not sounding black, that's when she's faking it. You know what I mean? It's it's the opposite with her.
So it's crazy that she spent a third of her life up in Canada, and I don't know. She's a bizarre.
She's an African Canadian. Not only that, her parents divorced when she was about 11, and her mother took her to Canada. She did all of her schooling all the way through high school in Canada, and then she came back to America to go to college. So she's more African Canadian than she is African American. African Canadian. Yes.
I don't know, if America's such a horrible place, why the heck did she come back if it's such a racist country?
Well, in Canada, who is the most prominent black Canadian you can name? I'll give you all of history. Exactly. Not one. They're racist. There's black people in Canada, but I can't tell you one black celebrity, even. No government official, no celebrity.
Willie O'Ree, the first black hockey player.
Who? A hockey player? Are you sure he's from Canada?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, so you got one black guy that plays hockey. Who's the most prominent black Canadian in the history of their government?
That's a good question, and it proves your point.
Yeah, they oppress black people in Canada, obviously.
Yeah, and you know, the Prime Minister in blackface, but that's quite all right.
Yeah, the Prime Minister. Drake does not count. He's a celebrity. I'm talking about someone who's empowered. We've had a black president twice. We got a black first lady. We've had very prominent black people in our government, and influencing our government, like Rosa Parks and Martin Luther King influenced our government. Many blacks in Congress. You can't think of any influential blacks in Canadian government because they're the racists, not us.
And you know, in the same way that Trudeau had his self in blackface, you got Biden trying to talk like he's
Biden's just trying to talk. He's just trying to talk.
Fair point.
All right, take care. All right. Well, thank you very much. Jim from New York. He's escaped. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yes, hello?
Yes.
Yes, hi. I just wanted to, first of all, thank you for this opportunity. Like I said, I am pro-Trump. I am for Trump. I am a woman of color.
Yes.
But I am here because I know. I just wanted to share with you, I see, no matter what, none of us are perfect, but I see the love in Trump as he spoke at the various different places where he see the love in him for America.
Now you said that you're a caller of color. What color are you?
Woman.
Okay, a woman. Well, but you're also a caller. You're a woman. What color are you?
I'm brown.
Are you black or are you Hispanic?
I'm mixed, sir. I'll tell you like.
Oh, I figure because you're former. You don't sound black. That's why I said you just don't sound black.
Look, I am. I was raised in Pennsylvania.
Oh.
But born in New York. I am a New Yorker. Okay, worked in New York for many years. I'm a survivor of a horrific.
Let me ask you a question. And you say you're a fan of Joe Biden?
No, Trump. The opposite. The opposite.
Donald Trump. I said, I told you. I'm calling to tell you guys. I see the love in Donald Trump's heart for America.
All right.
But you know what? I'll tell you this, caller. A few years ago, if we got a call from a black person, man or woman, who said, I'm black, I'm Hispanic, I'm biracial, and I'm a Republican, it was like a big deal. It was like unusual. Now it's like commonplace. It's more unusual to find minorities that are supporting Biden than Trump these days. It's very unusual to find minority Democrats these days.
Sir, and I understand that. All I can tell you, I am a mother, I'm a grandmother. I am also a survivor of a horrific accident that took place in 2001, the same year of the 9/11 attacks.
What?
Years, the former commuter back and forth from New York to Pennsylvania because I worked in New York. During the times that Trump was in office, it was a lot easier. The rates were down. He cares for America. Okay, none of us are perfect. He's not perfect, but he cares for America. I see a change in him. I see, no matter what the day is, he cares for America. It's just my heart's desire is I want Trump. I know this is tough what he's going through, but just like God opened up the Red Sea, I'm praying that God opens up the Red Sea for him, that God gives him favor in the court, that the hearts of the people will see. Two wrongs don't make a right. That is correct. But he has love for America. He cares about us. Okay? And we need change. Okay? It's tough when you go to the store and you purchase the food and you don't have enough of food. Right now, I am behind in my mortgage.
Oh, gosh.
About foreclosure, and I need help with that. Okay? All I'm saying to you is that there has to be a change. We're praying, I'm believing God. It hurts me to see what he's going through because I see sincerity. I'm looking in the eyes of every time he speaks. He loves America. He cares for them. He's forgiven Biden. But my goodness, enough is enough. I'm also a former legal secretary paralegal.
Mm-hmm.
We need to go by the law. And like I said, it's not here about money. It's all about the truth.
Yeah.
Isn't the other? My question is, and like I said, I've been out of the legal sector for a while because in healing process from what I've been through. But isn't there a higher court that can step in?
Yeah. Yeah.
But the system takes time to work.
There's after the jury verdict, if there is a conviction, Trump will go to the appeals court, and then if he has to, the Supreme Court. But yeah, but there's been no verdict yet, so the appellate courts can step in. Listen, we got to run. So tell me just in like 10 seconds, what kind of accident were you in that was so rough on you?
A bus crash that flipped upside down and slid down 80 and caught on fire, and I was ejected out of the bus.
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! Well, God bless you. You are lucky to be alive. You know that. You are blessed.
I know I'm here by the grace of God. I'm on your thing. I just want to thank you, Brian Craig. Like I said, my heart is rooting. My heart goes out to him, the Trump team, the Trump family, and we just got to keep praying and believing God for a miracle.
Absolutely.
I want to link because I may do a GoFundMe page. I'll send you a
Okay. I will help you for that mortgage thing you need help with. If you send me the link, I will post your GoFundMe to help with your mortgage. Okay. All right. Send me the link. All right. Thanks so much. All right, and I will do that. She's a very nice lady, and I will definitely post her GoFundMe link to help with her mortgage. So make sure you send it to me. All right, listen, we're going to take our last break of the day and be right back.
The cold, hard truth. Delivered morning 6 to 9 right here on The Steve Kane Show.
All right, and it's time to check in with William Youngerman from the offices of William Youngerman Incorporated with the Morning Gold and Precious Metals Report. William Youngerman, how the metals look today?
Metals looking very firm again after a nice pullback yesterday, giving us a little bit of a buying opportunity. Gold dropping $24 yesterday, closing out the day at $2,336.90. That was after it got up to $2,363. Silver was down 13 cents at $31.89 the ounce. Platinum lost $27 at $1,035. And palladium was down $26 at $944. Overnight, we saw gold trading as low as $23.21 and all the way up to $23.45.50, and that's pretty much where we are right now. $2,344.50, up $7.60.
Awesome.
Silver's down 49 cents at $31.40 the ounce. Platinum's unchanged right now at $1,035, and palladium's down another $7 at $937. So gold is very firm above $2,300 still. And silver's acting very nice, giving us a little bit of a pullback from time to time, but still building a nice base above $30 an ounce.
Now, pullbacks. I love pullbacks. That's when you load up. You know, I wanted to ask you something because I know you've seen these too. I see these insane national television ads for these, like, they're supposedly old gold coins and stuff, and you can only buy 3, 4, 5 at a time. And They mark the price up so much of these coins. They charge these outrageous premiums. And you often talk about the pre-33 gold. Can you tell people a little bit about that and why you're the place to go to, not just for all your gold and silver, but for some of those collectibles and the pre-33 gold?
Making a market in pre-33 U.S. gold coins for almost 60 years now, and the premiums right now are the lowest they've ever been, and so those you can buy from us at fabulous prices. The old $20 gold pieces, the double eagles from St. Gaudens and Liberty types, and these are coins you do see advertised on television and all these places, but they mark them up pretty substantially, and
oh yes,
kills the upside potential for you. You guys that go, things have to go up quite a bit before you even break even, and they have expensive advertising campaigns and movie stars that endorse their stuff and all that kind of stuff, but you're paying for that, and with us you don't have to. We just you can buy pre-33 gold for as little as 4% over the price of the gold value. So
that's amazing.
we've got these coins. We've got them at great values for people if that's what you're looking.
And those coins, by the way, they come with great stories and histories that you don't even know about, and they're great. You know, I've got one of those that my grandfather had, William, during the Depression. And he used to go and he used to take that gold coin to get a little bit of money to get him through payday during the Depression. And that pre-33 gold is absolutely amazing. They are beautiful, and it's when you how much did you say above the gold value? You gave a
you can buy some of them from us for as little as 4% over the gold value.
I've never heard of gold so cheap. That's amazing. And so those of you that are just into gold, they're awesome. But those of you that are into pre-33 gold, you know the value that William Ringerman just shared with you. Listen, give him a call. He opens up at 10 a.m. His number, 1-800-327-5010. 1-800-327-5010. You can stop in at 150 East Palmetto Park Road in Boca on the first floor of the Bank of America building, just east of US 1 Federal Highway on the south side of Palmetto Park Road. And you can find both his address and phone number on his website, WilliamYoungerman.com. All right, William Youngerman, great stuff today, and we'll finish out the week tomorrow.
Okay, have a great day.
Back after this.
Show.
All right, callers on hold, stand by. You know, Steve, before we go back to the call, you know what's been hot is HE double toothpicks lately, right? Oh my goodness! I mean, it is so hot. I mean, I'm surprised the Everglades aren't on fire. It's been so hot, and even in the evenings when the sun is down, and it's only May, right? And it's hot. You know, I've got the MyPillow mattress topper 2.0, and like the pillows that are 2.0, it's got the temperature regulating technology in it. Steve, I get in my bed at night, and I'm immediately cool, comfortable. I'm like Goldilocks, the perfect temperature. If you already have a MyPillow mattress topper, upgrade to the MyPillow mattress topper 2.0. It's 40% off with our promo code Kane, and free shipping on all orders over $75. That MyPillow mattress topper 2.0, you know, Steve, it's during the winter it keeps you warm and toasty, but during the summer it's almost like having air conditioning in your bed. It keeps you so cool and the perfect temperature all night long. That's the mattress topper 2.0. It's 40% off with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, and it comes in every mattress size. And I have them on the beds in my house, and I even got it for my daughter in her house out in California. And the hot summer months, you want that mattress topper 2.0. It will keep you cool and comfortable all night long through the hottest days of the summer and warm and toasty during the winter months. So go to MyPillow.com, use our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, 40% off and free shipping on all orders over $75. You can also order by phone, 1-800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879. Promo code Kane, Kane. All right, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Joellen from Fort Lauderdale.
Hey, Joellen.
Hey, as the other caller called, said, is there not a higher court? And I know that you have to go through that process. You know, everybody, all of these, like Mark Levin and everybody commenting on the judge, giving out these, the jury, the...
yeah, they only have to have 4 people agree, and then he's guilty, not unanimous and all this stuff.
Everybody has said, you know, they have never heard of that, and it's not right. So are these...
Okay. I didn't want to get sidetracked with that last caller because, you know, she had this story, but I'll share with you. What the judge did yesterday, he's thrown out our Bill of Rights. My understanding, I might be wrong on the number. I know a lot of people, they give you the number of the amendment, but I think it's the 6th Amendment that gives you your jury rights, right? In a criminal court, you have to have a unanimous decision. This guy, who was born in Colombia, has not only torn up the Constitution, he's writing his own Constitution. I've never heard this thing that as long as you agree that he's guilty of something, even if it's different crimes, he's guilty. So if you think he's guilty of this hush money thing and you think he's guilty of speeding in Palm Beach, you both think he's guilty, convict. I've never heard of this. There is someone, he does answer to somebody legally, okay? That is the Attorney General of the state of New York, Miss Letitia James. This is her realm. Or the governor, Hochul. This is her realm. Okay? And they're not going to get involved. So they have allowed this judge to tear up the Bill of Rights. By the way, you liberals, that's the first 10 amendments of the Constitution. He tore up the Bill of Rights yesterday, had his own little constitutional convention, and rewrote our entire jury system during lunch break.
Okay,
I'm serious as a heart attack. It's Letitia James, the Attorney General of New York, and the governor.
There's got to be somebody. No, I cannot believe that.
Yes. There's a third person. There's a third person. It's Letitia James and the governor of New York, and then the third person that has authority over this crooked judge is the Attorney General of the United States, Mr. Merrick Garland.
Good luck.
We're run by outlaws. Joe Ellen.
I cannot accept that. I just don't accept that somebody, whether it be the Supreme Court or somebody, can step in and say,
Listen. Medgar Evers, right? The guys that killed Medgar Evers were arrested and tried and found not guilty, right? Right? There was no system. The system, like in New York right now, run by Democrats. The Democrats have a long history of judicial misconduct. Convicting the innocent, acquitting the guilty. It's all political with these people. And what we're seeing now is what we used to see like in history books happening before our very eyes. We've never witnessed this live like this.
Well, that's for sure. I don't know. I'm hoping that, of course, that we get a hung jury. Probably the best we can.
Well, that's why he came up with these weird jury instructions, because he thought there would be a hung jury. He came up with. I don't listen. No one understands the rules. He made them up, and I was telling this to a caller earlier in the show. The jury instructions are purposely confusing so that nobody can understand them, and the judge can say whatever he wants to say they are at the particular time. Okay? And I'm very suspect of these two lawyers on the jury. I'm very suspect. They got this confusing jury thing, instructions, and then two lawyers there, and are these lawyers part of it? You understand what I mean?
Been thinking about that. So those lawyers are going to be able to explain to the rest of the people, yes, this is how it works. Do we have to do this?
Correct. It's possible. That is possible. It is possible that the lawyers are there to tell the rest of the jury that this is normal, this is the way it is. If his name is Trump, you must convict. That's what they're saying. No matter what.
One person. Hopefully that one person sticks to his guns.
Let me tell you, I would sit there, I'd be just like Alito, and I would tell them to kiss my you-know-what. I'm sitting here, and it's not guilty, and we could be here till next year. You're not swaying me. You can send as much crap back to the judge, back and forth, and I'm going to sit here, and it's not guilty. I'm not going to take part in this. By the way, listen to this. This scumbag judge, listen to this. This is in the Daily Mail I'm reading from. After Judge Juan Mercan, what's his name, Mercan? I don't know this corrupt jerk. After Judge Juan Mercan wrapped up his instructions to the jury, he had one last order for Donald Trump. I direct you all to stay here. He says to President Trump, you cannot leave the building. Who the freak does he think he is? He lives down the street. What does he mean? I told this to Steve at the top of the hour. I saw the room that President Trump was in with Don Jr. It was a damn prison cell without the bars. It was a dungeon. I couldn't believe. And that that judge is doing. I can't say on the radio what he's doing, but he's getting a lot of pleasure out of it, if you know what I mean. President Trump said the other day, and they called him a racist for this. He said it has something to do with where the judge is from. He's from Colombia, okay? He's from Colombia, and he's bringing that Colombian justice to New York. This is how the system works there.
Well, I say, call him a racist or whatever they want to call him. That's exactly what.
Yeah. All right, Joe Ellen, take care. Thanks for the call. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is JJ from Mass.
Hey.
Hey, JJ.
Hey, Steve. I was going to try to tie up this. I think Ben was the caller earlier in the show talking about manufactured confusion, and then I heard the sound on tape on Shannon Bream, which is pretty sad. I really like that lady.
They bought her off.
Confusion, and then you have the judge. I mean, because what she was doing is confusing. It was confusing to me. It's like Mike in the House of Representatives doing stuff that is so against what we believe they should be doing. So Shannon Bream doing that. The judge giving these instructions that are like, I mean, it's like the hardest crossword puzzle in the world to solve for like 5th grade, making things so confusing.
The judge actually said, if you agree he's guilty of 2 different crimes, you agree that he's guilty, therefore come back guilty. Well, maybe he's guilty of jaywalking, and the other person thinks he's guilty of this. That doesn't what. This is insane. Let me tell you, this judge very well could go to prison one day. What this judge is doing is, and I hate to say this, I've never seen corruption so open by someone like this.
The last caller, Brian, you spelled it out between the people that are responsible, and 3 strikes we're out. We've got nobody but.
That's right. We only have 10 seconds.
Yeah. Well, God bless Donald Trump. I hope and pray for the best.
All right, take care. All right, we're out of time for today. We'll be back tomorrow. If you're on hold, stand by, because you'll be first in line on tomorrow's program. Now, tomorrow's Friday already, a short week. That means it's open phones, open MAGA Mike Friday. Any and everything on your mind is fair game on Friday's show, but there should be some happenings in the courtroom today, which will be the primary focus. I'm Brian. Steve Kane, of course, is here. This is the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m.
WSFS 104.3 HD3 Miramar. WIRK 103.1
All right, guys, I got to run. If you're new, subscribe. And everyone who's already subbed, please like the video, okay? All right.